has ever happened in the NFL or really in any sport, but especially the NFL.
Go back to when they fired Malarkey at the end of the season, or, however they want to phrase it. They parted ways, mutually parted ways, fire, however you want to say it. We were surprised, but I don't think we were too shocked because it happened after the season, after the playoffs was done. They were out, one and done. I think they were. Which is
when coaches and GMs
exactly.
get
They were
fired
9
after the season.
They were 9-7 that year, I believe. And
Tough call.
Barely. So maybe I didn't like it because I like Malarkey, but it was like, okay, they hired Mike Vrabel. All right, we get it. We understand this. They want to elevate their play. We get it. They're not just satisfied with a 9-7 season. We understand. We don't understand this, and maybe it's not for us to understand that she don't give a damn. Vrabel don't give a damn either. Maybe that's just how they feel. But there's a lot of there's going to have to be a lot of questions asked of him today, and those questions can't be softball questions. And we have the personalities in the media that will not throw him softball questions, I believe. So hopefully they will put his feet to the fire, which I'm pretty sure they will, so he can give us some type of answers. Because I don't think, we're just moving on. There's hard decisions, and you got to, Amy made a decision. We're just going to move on as a team. We got Jacksonville. That's not going to be enough for us. That shouldn't be enough for the people in the room either. This is not an injury. This is not losing a game to the Giants. This is not getting blown out by the Eagles.
This is not something that you can coach speak your way
exactly.
out of. Because we all have a lot of questions. Fans have a lot of questions. And I think that those questions deserve answers. And one of my biggest questions is, and I think that you two probably feel the same way, is why now? And that's what I want to get into coming up next. Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Why now? Why do you think now? Plus the question that I posed to D-Mase at the beginning of the show. Are you nervous for the future of the Tennessee Titans without John Robinson at the helm? We'll get into that coming up next. And remember, Mike Vrabel, John Robinson on the brain, Mike Vrabel's press conference in just about an hour and a half. We will play that live. We'll get your reaction in live time. We'll do that in about an hour and a half. Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 1025-1063, The Game.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes, like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Oh, yeah! Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Skip the drama and get the perfect gift for everyone on your list. A gift card to Twin Peaks. You don't even have to leave your couch. Just head over to bit.ly/Twin Peaks eGift to grab as many as you need and send them right to your fam's inboxes. Happy shopping.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Start NFL Week 14 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account, you'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay does not hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. Josh Jacobs over rushing yards, Derek Carr over passing yards, and honestly, the Rams stink, so I don't know where to go there. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app, however you want to play. However you want to play, lock it in with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with the promo code JGM if you don't already have an account. If you do, you're all set. Just sign in to see what you got. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issues, non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Joe Rexrode here for OrderGreen.com. Listen, to do the job I do, got to stay on the move at all times. Lots of travel, early mornings. Sometimes it can catch up with you, and when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body. That's why I use a high-quality, wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. It's not just me. Lots of my friends are on the bandwagon here, including a sick family friend of ours who has gotten great benefits. OrderGreen.com. You subscribe, you save 25% off shipments of gummies, or use promo code Joe20 for 20% off your first purchase. OrderGreen.com.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Campbell here, serial entrepreneur. Here's what our payroll customer, Laura, thinks about us.
Patriot Software and their amazing team are a crucial part of our business. They handle the details of payroll and tax payments, so we can focus on delivering exceptional customer service to our own clients. Patriot's payroll is affordable, easy to use, and it keeps us organized. They're receptive to their customers and strive to demonstrate that each day. Without a doubt, we will be using their payroll services for many years to come. Thank you, Patriot Software. 5 stars.
Go to PatriotSoftware.com to get your payroll pricing for up to 100 employees. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll processing free. That's PatriotSoftware.com.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
The Titans dispatching their general manager amidst an AFC South championship season.
What the hell was that about today? Are we going to find out, like, the real story, or is it just like...
If I had to guess...
Hey, A.J. Brown lit us up, we didn't re-sign him, you're out.
I think it could be that.
That is insane.
There you go. That was the Rich Eisen show yesterday. And ask the question, are we going to know the real story? Because surely it cannot be as simple as John Robinson made a really bold move to trade A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles. He balls out against the Eagles. The Titans lose to the Eagles, and he gets fired because of that. Surely that cannot be the entire story. But we haven't heard a word from within the Titans organization, but we will hear from Mike Vrabel in just over an hour. We will carry that live. So make sure to tune in for that to hear what Mike Vrabel has to say about the situation. But we haven't heard anything besides a statement put out on social media by Amy Adams Strunk about exactly why this move was made and why it's happening now. But the only true reporting that we've heard on this situation was Adam Schefter yesterday. This was Adam Schefter on the inside the situation of the Titans firing John Robinson.
This was very surprising. Again, he's been there for 6 seasons. The worst record that John Robinson and the Titans ever have had during his 6 seasons there was 9-7. But this is a situation where the owner was not particularly happy with John Robinson, and she decided to make a change this morning. And so she fired John Robinson a year after she gave him a long-term contract extension. He's got 4 years after this year on his contract. Now, a lot of people around the league have called up and asked all day long, wondering if there's something more to this, if something happened. And I've been told that that's not the case, that this is a simple decision of the owner wanting to go in a different direction. I think everybody remembers the A.J. Brown trade. They saw the Eagles this weekend, and A.J. Brown lit up the Tennessee Titans. But the fact of the matter is, I think... Yeah, well, that doesn't help the situation, RC. But I think that the owner was not entirely happy about not being included in a lot of conversations. And I think she felt like she wanted to go in a different direction. And so they've appointed Ryan Cowden as the interim GM, and they'll wind up being in the GM market after this season.
Okay, 2 things in particular that stand out to me in that clip from Adam Schefter. First and foremost, says, was there something more to this? No, that wasn't the case. I don't believe that. Your thoughts on, is this as simple as an A.J. Brown trade? That it was as linear as A.J. Brown was traded away, A.J. Brown lit us up, the team has been struggling without a certified number 1 wide receiver, and that was the final straw that broke the camel's back. That it was as simple as A.J., that there is nothing more going on within the organization.
Well, if you're going to believe that, then hey, I got a bridge in New York that I can sell you. Just come to me, call me, DM me on the price. I'll sell it to you for the low of a couple $1 million. I'll sell it to you. Just give me the money. I'll fill out some paperwork. It's yours. If you believe what he said, then I can sell you that. If it was just, I just want to believe owners, and we've seen owners that are out there, that are in front of the camera, that they are their, organization. Typically, it's a player or a coach that is the face of the organization. But we've seen some franchises where it's the owner, where you see the owner all the time, where he's talking all the time. And we know who those franchises are, whether it be basketball, football, baseball, hockey, it doesn't matter. But you can't tell me that, and I don't want to believe, and if it's true, then we got a problem. You can't tell me that she watched that game, watched A.J. Brown go off, and decided to fire John because A.J. went off. So if A.J. would have had one touchdown, what I'm led to believe by what Adam is saying and everyone else, that if he had one touchdown, John would still be here. That if he had no touchdowns, John would still be here. That if Philadelphia had lost, John would still be here. I can't. I'm not going to believe that one guy. I can go through the draft picks and believe that because of some of these draft picks didn't hit, that the AJ thing was probably the straw that broke the camel's back, maybe. But again, I'm not going to believe that she made a knee-jerk reaction based on the outcome of the Philadelphia game and what AJ did. So if Philadelphia wins that game, Devontae Smith has 200 yards. AJ has 3 catches. So what y'all saying? They're not going to fire John Robinson? I can't believe that, because I don't think she is that, like, I'm just going to make a decision, and I'm not talking to anybody. This is a decision I'm going to make Tuesday morning. Damn everybody else, because you didn't keep A.J. Brown, or you didn't keep me in the loop. She talked every year before the season, right, or at the end of the season. And every time she made it seem to us that everything was okay, that everybody was on the same page, everything was going well within the organization, no backbiting, no anything. The chain of command is perfect. But now we're led to believe it wasn't perfect, and that she wasn't in the loop with these decisions that were being made. If he didn't put her in a loop, then he deserves to be fired. That's like, me making a bunch of decisions and getting people in here without discussing it with Chase. After a while, Chase be like, I'm the boss, so you got to run this through me.
But this is interesting to me. A lot of people are pointing to the 20 and 21 drafts, and that's a fair criticism. They don't look like they're getting much from that. Now, I would contend that if you look around the league, there's plenty of teams that you cherry pick a couple different years. There's going to be some thin draft. Everybody misses on some picks. You scrutinize your own team. But, okay, let's take that. That didn't stop them from giving him a 5-year extension.
That's the thing.
They gave him a 5-year extension despite the 20 and 21 drafts. So
anything that happened before February 2022, in my opinion, is totally a moot point.
Yes. So what has happened since then? The A.J. Brown trade happened, but the 2022 draft looks like a pretty good draft. So if you're going to get all over him for the 2020 and 21 drafts, they gave him an extension. And then the 2022 draft looks like it's a pretty good draft. Do we agree on that?
No, it does.
I mean, it looks let's see where it
promising.
goes. It's promising. We don't know yet, but it looks like they got some good stuff there. So what do we make of what Adam Schefter said? Like, what? I keep going back to the same thing. You did it during the season. This is something that happens after the season. This is not something that happens during the season. So what happened? They're 7-5. It'd be one thing if they're 3-9. We got to do something. Our season's spiraling out of control. But it's not like the wheels have come off here.
And also, what is the general manager going to do from between now and the end of the season?
Nothing.
Not much.
You're not going to draft in January.
Right.
The trade deadline has passed. At most, your general manager is going to go cherry picking around other practice squads around the league. So why now? And D-Mase, your point about I cannot believe that Amy would make this move in the middle of the season. Such a rash decision.
Exactly.
If it is simply just based in the A.J. Brown trade and the Philadelphia game and the way that A.J. played, that would be an incredibly rash decision.
Yes.
So I go back to the question that I asked at the beginning of the show. Let's say, just based off of the information that we know and based off of what Adam Schefter reported, we are led to believe that it was simply based off of the Eagles game. That's a bad ownership decision. So does that make you concerned about the management of the Tennessee Titans moving forward? Because if that's all it was the A.J. trade and the Philadelphia game, that's a bad decision.
Yes. To me, if that's what happened, and I don't know if that's what happened, maybe we'll never know what happens. We'll see what Mike Vrabel says. We'll see if Amy Adams ever decides to talk about this, which I think she should. If you want to do it, you got to own it. You're the one that is taking ownership of this. Let me ask you guys this. This might be something to ponder for the break. Let's say you're Amy Adams and Amy Adams Strunk. You're sitting in there. You're getting flipped off, taunted by the Eagles fans. A.J. Brown's going nuts. You're boiling. Who are the people surrounding Amy Adams who are maybe – I mean, everybody has an inner circle. You make a major decision like that. Let's say it was her decision. Who are the inner circle people that are saying, yeah, you know what, I think you should do it? Don't you think that there's got to be a couple people that she trusts somewhere? And I don't know who those people are. I don't know if it's other executives that work in the front office. I don't know if she sat down with Mike Vrabel after she got home from Philadelphia, had a long talk. I remember Jim Irsay went through this whole thing about the process when they fired Frank Reich in the middle of the season. I mean, he was very open about it to a large degree, about the timeline. So I just wonder about the timeline. If we believe that sort of the straw that broke the camel's back was A.J. Brown, who are the people that were influencing Amy Adams? I don't think it's smart to just do that on your own. Wouldn't you sort of bounce it off of some people before you're going to do something like that? When you're winning, you're winning. You're 7-5. You've got total control of the division. It's not panic time.
And I do think that's a fair question. And coming up next, I kind of want to ask the question, does that person or people who influenced that decision, will they have a bigger role in this team moving forward because John Robinson is out? We'll get into that coming up next. But first, Willy wants to tell you about Loan Pronto.
All right. If you need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now, Loan Pronto has the formula for you. The Express Equity Line of Credit program. It's just what you need. It's great because you can keep the low mortgage rate you have locked in. If you've got one of those, don't mess with it. But if you need cash, you can do both. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have, get the cash you need, and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. A $50,000 loan would only cost you around $300 a month. So use that money to pay off the high-interest credit cards. Get that credit card bill down to zero. Or get ready for 2023 with the home improvement project that you want to get started. Add value to your home that way. With Loan Pronto, you can do all of this stuff, even if you did a total refi recently, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Give them a call, 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
This is Mikhail Kralin, and this is Nashville.
The rebound shoveled in by Mikhail Granlund, and the Predators have tied it up on the power play.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road.
How to say I love you without words and make your money go further this year? A beautiful piece of jewelry from Genesis Diamonds, and we're making it easy with zero interest financing. That's right. While interest rates are on the rise everywhere else, at Genesis Diamonds, we're lowering rates all the way down to 0% with zero down. This is in addition to Genesis' amazing, unbeatable value prices. How about a 5-carat diamond bracelet for only $85 a month? Or a luxury pre-owned Rolex Submariner or Datejust? Pay nothing down and spread the cost over 5 years. Everything's included in this amazing holiday offer, but this is only through December 12th, so shop early. Unique designer jewelry, colored gemstones, classic diamond studs, handcrafted engagement rings starting as low as $35 a month with zero down. Even our GIA certified diamonds are included. Let Genesis help you find that remarkable gift for the season and enjoy low payments and 0% financing for 5 years with no money down. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs on approved credit.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Hal Gill here for my friends at Dunkin'. Everyone celebrates the holidays in their own special way, but you go twice as hard as everyone else. So does Dunkin', which is why they've created 2 espresso-rich holiday signature lattes. The minty, cocoa-dusted peppermint mocha and creamy cinnamon sugary toasted white chocolate lattes are handcrafted with bold espresso and topped with whipped cream to help you do the most this year. So swing by the newly remodeled Dunkin' on Bradley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and grab one today on the double.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Gem Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Just back in February, the Titans gave long-term contract extensions to both Coach Mike Vrabel and their general manager, John Robinson. Just 10 months later, Robinson is out as GM, and Ryan Cowden, a longtime executive and scout who's been with the organization, takes over on an interim basis. My understanding is what was communicated to Robinson was that ownership was not happy about the direction of the roster that he had assembled, even though at this point, as you mentioned, the Titans are 7-5, and they've got a more than 3-game lead in the AFC South Division. Certainly, as you look through Robinson's drafts, he's had some big hits. He drafted Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown. He drafted Harold Landry. He also had some high-profile misses, including the likes of Isaiah Wilson and most recently Caleb Farley, who has struggled to be on the field. If you go back about a month or so ago, Mike Vrabel spoke in a press conference and was asked about the offense, and he said, if you haven't figured it out yet, this is how we're going to have to play. That was a sign that there was frustration about what they lacked at the wide receiver position, in particular on that offense. Of course, the trade of A.J. Brown back in April to the Eagles did net them a promising young receiver in Treylon Burks, but he too has had some injury issues and has not stayed on the field. Just 2 days after that game, and A.J. Brown having more touchdowns and receptions and receiving yards than all the Titans wide receivers combined, the guy who drafted him and traded him, John Robinson, is out in Tennessee.
There you go. That was Tom Pelissero on the NFL Network yesterday. John Robinson out after 6 winning seasons, about to be a 7th, 4 playoff appearances, about to be 5, a trip to the AFC Championship in 2019, and he's out mid-season when the Titans are 7-5 and going to win the division, and they're going to host a playoff game. We all have questions about why this move is happening. My question for you all is, what's coming up next? And is there somebody that was, Willy, you mentioned before the break, is there somebody who is counseling Amy Adams Strunk or was kind of pushing this move to happen? Was it just the Philadelphia Eagles game? Or was she so fed up with watching A.J. Brown ball out this season, hearing the nagging and the yelling from Philadelphia Eagles fans? And if that's the case, then that's just a really poor decision. But you asked, Willy, who was influencing that decision? Does she have an inner sanctum of confidants of people who are saying, yes, that's a good move, or no, that's a bad move?
Yeah, and I don't know the answer.
And I don't know the answer
And look,
either.
the history of Bud Adams, he did make some pretty rash, hardcore decisions that were sort of like this. I think if you look back through the years, it'd be interesting to talk to John McClain or somebody like that who goes back through the history like that. So it's not the first time that this kind of thing has ever happened. So maybe it was just her. Like the A.J. Brown thing might have been sticking with her for a long time, and then this was it. I just don't think that's a really good decision to make at this point in the game. It is, like I said at the start of the show, it's unprecedented from what I can tell that this happens. When your team has a 3-game lead in the division, you're 7-5. What is going to help doing it now? Even if you're kind of saying, and then the other thing that we have been listening to a lot, and you really go back through it, there's been, Derek, a lot of times, and we were trying to go back through them yesterday and find examples where in hindsight, you can sort of interpret that Mike Vrabel was dropping hints about this player or that player, and maybe in hindsight you're like, well, maybe there was a little more friction than we realized between Vrabel and Robinson. But I just kind of chalk that up to a coach and GM are always going to be clashing with ideas, right? That no coach and GM are attached so much that they agree with one another on every single decision that's been made.
Especially with
right?
some of the bold decisions that John Robinson has made over the past year, 2 years. But, I mean, you bring up Mike Vrabel, and Pat Kerwin was on SiriusXM NFL Radio, former NFL scout, talking about the John Robinson Titan situation. This was Pat Kerwin earlier today on SiriusXM.
I hope someone in the building wasn't playing this for their own benefit. That would disappoint me.
And whose benefit would it be? Who would get more control with John Robinson out? Who would have more say with John Robinson out? I'm not accusing anyone of doing anything, but if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, and if somebody inside that organization was using this move for their own benefit, it would be Mike Vrabel. Because with John Robinson out, Mike Vrabel has more say. With John Robinson out, Mike Vrabel has more control. Mike Vrabel would be able to call more of the shots. Mike Vrabel would be able to play more of a general manager role rather than John Robinson calling the shots, rather than Mike Vrabel getting frustrated with some of the moves that John Robinson has made. I'm not accusing Mike Vrabel of doing that, but if like Pat Kerwin said, if somebody inside the organization were to use that for their own benefit, who would benefit the most?
Oh, wow. Obviously, it would be Mike Vrabel. But, I want to listen to his press conference today and, just sort of listen and pay attention to every word he's saying. Because if you ask enough questions, you're going to get your answer. Some way or another, you're going to get the answer you want in this situation. And I want to know, did you know? Did you see this coming? Did you have talks with Amy prior? Did you have talks with John? Did you and John talk before he left? Have you talked since? Things like that. You knew. I don't think we ever thought that it would ever get to this point because in let's say not in the near future, say in the next 2 year or 2 or 3 years, because you figure they made it seem from the outside that everything was peachy creamy. Now, you've said it, Willie. I mean, there could have been some disagreements in building, and it happens. You don't.
Yeah, they
you
gave
don't
him
agree,
a 5-year
exactly.
extension in February.
You don't agree
it wasn't
with your.
That bad.
You don't agree with your coworker every time. There might be an argument or two in between. The relationship of you two working together. But if the relationship was solid, you get through it.
Right.
And
exactly.
it's like, okay.
You can argue
exactly.
and still be okay with each other.
Absolutely. Because we
can
understand
respect each other. Yeah.
There can be two. There may be something I want to do, but then there may be something you two want to do. We discuss it. We may argue about it, but then ultimately we say, well, what is best for the show? All right, what's best for the show is this.
Right.
Let's move on. We had an argument. It's fine. Now let's go about our business. It's going to be that. But they made it seem like there was never any problems in that building between John and Mike Vrabel.
Well, they got contract extensions at the same time.
At the same time.
They were joined at the hip.
It is John and Mike together.
Right. And so this was, again, I'll emphasize it, after the 20 and 21 drafts, which were abysmal.
Exactly.
Or
If
as you like to say, your new word,
abysmal.
abysmal.
Abysmal, which is abysmal and
worse than abysmal. Abysmal.
But that's an opportunity, Caroline, where if you are not pleased with your GM, you don't then say, hey, listen, I'm looking at this 21 draft and Farley, Radens, Molden. Well, Molden's doing pretty good. But Fitzpatrick, Isaiah Wilson, Evans, not the Evans y'all thinking
Darrington.
about.
I actually
Darrington
saw
Evans.
him in a uniform playing an NFL game. I thought he was done. He was playing for the Bears.
Well, there you go.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this the same guy?
Same guy.
It was. He was out there.
But my thing is, if there's a problem, and it's based upon what everybody's, outside of Nashville is speculating. Oh, it was the 2 drafts and then A.J. Brown. Well, I'm not giving neither one of them a 5-year extension or an extension based upon the 20 and the 19 draft or the 20 and the 21 draft. I'm not.
And I'm with you. You can talk about Julio all you want. You can talk about Caleb Farley all you want. You can talk about Isaiah Wilson all you want, which are all fair points. But John Robinson got extended after those moves were made.
Yes.
So what moves have been made between February 8th, 2022 and December 6th, 2022? You signed Robert Woods. You signed Austin Hooper. You failed to address the offensive line. And the kicker, you traded A.J. Brown. So something had to have happened within those 4 moves or within the last 10 months that made it so bad and made the friction so terrible between John Robinson and Mike Vrabel, assuming or making the assumption that Mike Vrabel had a say in this, that it was his push to make this move happen. Something within those 4 moves or within the last 10 months that caused the friction to increase. And that it was so bad that they could no longer coexist for the next month and a half to make a move at the end of the season.
I don't know if we'll ever know exactly the answers.
Of course not.
To that? Are we going to?
No.
But
I think
I go
close.
back to who are
I
the
think
other
we'll get
people?
close to the
Who are the
answers.
people behind the scenes pushing this narrative from as the season unfolded? Like I didn't sense any of this before the season started, right? And then they go 0-2. Then after the Green Bay game, this would have been unfathomable.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
They're 7-3.
I don't know. There was a little mishap off the field after Green
But
Bay.
what does that have to do with the GM?
I don't. Maybe it does. I don't know.
But really, how is that the GM's fault? What does the GM have to do with the DUI?
If the NFL, and I'm not talking about Todd Downing made that decision on his own, but
Right.
that made it the league's business. So let's say the league looks into whatever happened on that plane, and the league found damning evidence that was so bad enough for the league to go to Amy Adams Strunk and say, you got to cut ties with the guy in charge.
But why the GM?
He's in charge.
The owner's in charge.
She wasn't on the plane.
So the GM makes the rules of what's on the plane? I don't know. Like I'm just asking.
Well, she should have fired Mike Vrabel too, if that's the case.
Yeah. Why? I mean,
Which would explain the timing.
Exactly.
If the league said you need to get your GM out right now because the evidence is damning enough, and maybe John Robinson was the one that was saying,
But
"Hey,
Todd
everybody
Downing,
drink up."
But Todd Downing has been the offensive coordinator for the last 2 weeks. It's not a resolved thing. Otherwise, he would have been. I just
possibility.
I'm not buying on that.
And
I'm
that's
just
fine.
not buying on that.
And that's fine. But I mean, if Mike Vrabel was part of this decision making, then that would assume that he plays a larger role with the Titans moving forward.
Can we agree? I hope the question is asked because of this whole A.J. Brown thing. Somebody's got to ask Mike Vrabel, all right, the A.J. Brown thing is speculated a lot here. Did Amy Adams Strunk know or not know? Did she not know? Like Adam Schefter said it. It's unclear exactly what he said.
I can't believe she did not sign off on that.
I agree.
We'll get into that coming up next.
Wasn't she around there?
We'll get
she
into
was
that coming up next. Further breaking down Adam Schefter's report and really the only inside report that we've heard about John Robinson's firing. We'll get into that coming up next. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase is brought to you by Hair Club. Regrow your own natural hair through non-surgical options that deliver impressive results. We'll get to your phones. Plus, do we believe what Adam Schefter said? Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
College football.
Touchdown, Georgia. Nice catch and move by Holden. Touchdown. Anderson. Touchdown.
lives here. Don't miss every exciting play each Saturday.
Into the end zone. Touchdown to the freshman, Dane Key.
It's all presented by Twin Peaks, your home of 20-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and by Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a very rainy morning in the afternoon, very similar to yesterday, where a few on and off rain showers will be here and there. No significant weather and very warm once again. High temperatures in the upper 60s to right near 70 degrees.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Guys, 2022's been a roller coaster year, so spoil her this Christmas by giving her the next best thing to wearing nothing at all with soft, silky, naturally nude pajamas exclusively from Pajamagram. Sensuous and smooth, naturally nude pajamas feel just like her own bare skin. Even more alluring than lingerie, the texture and touch of these pajamas is so seductive that you'll both love the feel of them. She'll love the feeling of wearing next to nothing at all, and you'll love the way they look. Best of all, Pajamagram does the wrapping for you with free gift packaging. Order today, and Pajamagram will also include a free matching naturally nude nightie with the purchase of naturally nude pajamas. That is free gift packaging and a free naturally nude nightie when you order today. Just go to Pajamagram.com. It's fast, easy, and delivery by Christmas is guaranteed. That's Pajamagram.com.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year.
Joe Rexroad.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063, The Game. Hey, remember to follow us on Instagram at 1025, The Game Nashville. Again, John Robinson, the biggest news of the day, the week, probably the year. John Robinson fired by the Tennessee Titans. And the only reporting that we have heard from inside the Titans organization, not even coming from the horse's mouth themselves, it comes from Adam Schefter yesterday. So this was Adam Schefter on why the Titans ownership decided to make this move.
This was very surprising. Again, he's been there for 6 seasons. The worst record that John Robinson and the Titans ever have had during his 6 seasons there was 9-7. But this is a situation where the owner was not particularly happy with John Robinson, and she decided to make a change this morning. And so she fired John Robinson a year after she gave him a long-term contract extension. He's got 4 years after this year on his contract. Now, a lot of people around the league have called up and asked all day long, wondering if there's something more to this, if something happened. And I've been told that that's not the case, that this is a simple decision of the owner wanting to go in a different direction. I think everybody remembers the A.J. Brown trade. They saw the Eagles this weekend, and A.J. Brown lit up the Tennessee Titans. But the fact of the matter is, I think... Yeah, well, that doesn't help the situation, RC, but I think that the owner was not entirely happy about not being included in a lot of conversations, and I think she felt like she wanted to go in a different direction, and so they've appointed Ryan Cowden as the interim GM, and they'll wind up being in the GM market after this season.
Okay, so the key there what we were getting into before the break is Amy Adams-Strunk was upset with John Robinson for not filling her in on big decisions. Well, what decision is that? Surely she was in the loop about the A.J. Brown trade. I mean, it was a fairly largely publicized story even before it happened of the idea of A.J. Brown getting traded. We all know the notorious clip from John Robinson saying, I do not foresee that happening. Or Mike Vrabel saying, as long as I'm the coach, A.J. will be here. Yeah. I mean, this was something that was discussed before the move was even made. Surely John Robinson consulted with Amy Adams-Strunk before trading A.J. Brown. That is a move that you talk to the owner about.
You would think, but
you would think.
I don't know if we can say for sure that he did. I know, like, when that clock's ticking and it's draft day and you got to make a quick decision, I'm sure there wasn't a whole lot of time. Hey, let's sleep on this. Like, they couldn't do that, right? They had to say, all right, this is the deal on the table. We got to make a tough call here. I think we should trade him. I don't know if there was a phone call to the owner at that point or not. I'm sure she was aware of the comments you said. Mm-hmm. John Robinson going on the record and saying, I don't foresee trading A.J. Brown right now. And the coach saying, as long as I'm the coach, A.J. Brown is going to be a Titan. We're not trading him. And then they did the 180. So if that was festering for a while, okay. But again, it's just very puzzling that you would go to that extreme. If this has been sticking in your craw all along, it would make more sense if this was like the crowning, like the Rams. The Rams are 3-9. If that loss in Philadelphia was embarrassing, that makes you 3-9. The wheels are coming off. It's all because we don't have A.J. Brown. Maybe it makes a little more sense in the season, but you're 7-5.
Even still, you'd probably just wait till the end of the season.
Right.
Because what other moves is the GM going to make from now until January 15th?
But how many times, and I would love to know this, how many times is the GM fired, especially the GM that hires the coach, that has a winning record, and you talked about this, Willie.
Top 10. They're in the top 10 in the league.
How many times have you seen the GM fired but not the head coach fired? Usually you see the head coach fired, and then maybe after the season, the GM is fired, or a year later, y'all. I almost tend to believe, and I said this to you two off air, I almost tend to believe that because people bringing up this AJ stuff, and hey, rightfully so, but it's just convenient right now because they play Philadelphia, they got beat down, AJ has a good game, then he's fired. Now all of a sudden, that's the one thing people want to run to, especially people. Let's say the people that haven't followed this team for the last 6 years, like intently, like we have. Mm-hmm. They go to the first thing. Oh, the A.J. Brown. I think it probably came down to, listen, if y'all want to put it on the A.J. Brown thing, this is the scenario, okay? I don't believe that decision to trade A.J. Brown was done without the consent of Amy Adams-Strunk. This is her organization. This is her dad's team. I'm sure she cared just like it was her child about this team. You can tell by the things that she has done since she's become controlling owner of this team, the things she has done with this organization. So she cares about it a lot. You can't tell me that deal was done and that trade was made without her saying, man, I don't agree with it, but I understand what you're saying, John. Let's do it. I trust you. Let's do it.
She had to have known.
Exactly.
So what big decisions that Adam Schefter is referencing was she not in the loop on?
I don't think it was. I think she was in the loop with everything. I don't think Mike Vrabel was in the loop with anything. I think she went to Mike Vrabel. I mean, he went to Amy Adams. Vrabel wasn't in the loop with everything possibly. As a GM, he making decisions. She was on board with the A.J. Brown trade. Vrabel wasn't on board. You see what happens. He finally probably he probably finally went to her like, listen, I can't do this. You can't keep trading away and give. We're not the New England Patriots. We don't have Tom Brady. That's the ultimate like trump card. You can do anything you want to when you got to go at that position. Anything you want to. That trumps everything. Every move that New England made while Brady was there, he trumped it all because he was the guy that led that team. You don't have him here. Vrabel understands that. So we can't be making moves as if we're the New England Patriots because we're not. Vrabel hates that, whether y'all know it or not. He hates that comparison with the New England Patriot way. He's like, this is not New England.
That's how they run this team.
But but that's because John's here. This that started before Vrabel got
But
here.
what does Vrabel always say? No one player is bigger than the team.
Exactly.
That is 100% a Patriot
But if you
mantra.
listen to Vrabel, what is it that Vrabel does if you really listen to him intently? He tells you the players he likes, and he tells you the players he do not like. When A.J. Brown names comes up, he gushes about A.J. Brown. Jeffrey Simmons, he gushes about Jeffrey Simmons to a point where, hell, I thought he was going to move A.J. in. You know, like, hey, baby, we got to take the spare room because AJ's moving in with us.
He loves Aaron Brewer.
Exactly.
For some reason, he loves
You
Aaron
know the
Brewer.
guys that he loves. Then when he talks
can't
about
stand Bud Dupree.
when he talks about Bud Dupree, he try to go past it as quickly as possible. Caleb Farley, for whatever reason, he goes by it as quickly as possible. Dylan Ratons, he goes by it as quickly as possible. When he likes one of those guys, he has those guys that he likes. He doesn't want them to go. John feels that, listen.
And he's fairly subtle about it, but if
Exactly.
you really listen, you can kind of pick up on that.
And I
theme
think
a little
John is more, listen, this is a business to me. I like these guys. I've met their families, but I understand it's a business. What did we say about Vrabel when he first got here? A lot of decisions that he made were emotional decisions because he was still coming from sort of that player standpoint at times where he's in it with his guys. Watch him. He's one of them. He loves those guys. And when you trade away one of his guys that he loves and then possibly think about getting rid of like a Ben Jones.
I thought that was telling. In hindsight, I think back there was there was a little grandstanding for Ben Jones at the combine, and so I wonder what was going on behind the scenes. The debate of, hey, we got to make tough decisions here, like you do every year. When you're a good team, you got to make tough decisions with the salary cap, and you don't agree on everything. I'm sure he was lobbying and grandstanding publicly for Ben Jones, and I think he won that battle. I'm sure there was a debate about Brett Kern and Ryan Stonehouse, right?
It was a good win for him,
right?
Because they needed Ben Jones.
But the GM has to view the short term and the long term. The coach has to be a little bit more in the trenches and worried about the now. And that's the struggle. That's where a good coach and GM have to have a little give and take with what's going on. It's natural to have some disagreements.
And you mentioned the now, and that's what I want to get into coming up next, is what does this move mean for the team right now? Not the draft, not next year, but right now. We'll get into that coming up next. Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
This message is for the guy who isn't perfect in the bedroom. And let's be honest, who is? Maybe the issue is getting it up or keeping it up, or maybe it's finishing too soon. If any of these performance hiccups sound familiar to you, don't sweat it. Hims can help. At 4hims.com, you can go online and get clinically proven prescription medication that treats these issues, prescribed for you, if appropriate, by licensed medical providers. And the medication is shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. No one's perfect in the bedroom every time, but with Hims, you can get a lot closer than before. And chances are, your partner will agree.
To get started today, go to 4hims.com/perfect. That's 4hims.com/perfect for your free visit. FORHIMS.com/PERFECT.
All of us who work for Cromwell Media, the owner of this radio station, take a great deal of pride in our work. We honor each other for making a difference on our team and in our community. This month, we're congratulating Austin Fullwider, who handles our commercial logs for 6 years of service, and Sean Fort, our director of sales, along with David Janes, one of our part-time producers on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, are each celebrating 2-year anniversaries. Want to be part of what we do? Contact us at together@cromwellmedia.com and let's have a conversation.
These are battles, these are grinds. We don't panic, we don't freak out. That's how we're built. 1, 2, 3,
This is your drive to the playoffs update, presented by Coleman Tractor, Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
On Tuesday morning, the news broke that the Tennessee Titans were firing GM John Robinson. David Beauclair of SI.com joined Robbie and Rexrow this morning and said,
"This is the biggest shocker I think the Titans have dropped on us since they've been in Nashville, and there's reasons for concern with the job that John Robinson had done the last couple of years. The 20 and 21 draft classes outside of Christian Fulton have produced shockingly little to this point. The right tackle situation, they seem to have gotten progressively worse there over 4 consecutive years. The fact is, given John Robinson's record, no losing seasons, 4 playoff appearances in the last 5 years, it's going to be 5 out of 6. This is going to be 3 straight division titles unless they screw it up dramatically here down the stretch, whatever. I mean, you figure whatever disappointment there has been in the owner's suite, that he would, he deserved the opportunity to go ahead and fix whatever problems exist right now.
Ryan Cowden will be the interim GM for the remainder of the season, and Mike Vrabel will speak to the media at 11:45 today. This report is presented by Coleman Tractor. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mace with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee,
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game in the Game Nashville app. We are streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Our video streaming is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Caroline Fenton in for Chase McCabe today. Again, the biggest story of the year, probably, within this Titans team. Titans have fired general manager John Robinson in the middle of the season, even though the Titans are 7-5, even though the Titans are winning the division, even though the Titans are hosting a playoff game, they have parted ways with John Robinson. So I want to get into, how does that decision affect the team right now? Because I can make the argument that Todd Downing getting a DUI a few weeks ago, the players probably look at that and they're like, we don't care. That's your business. That doesn't affect us. Firing the general manager in the middle of the season When you play in a handful of days, well, that affects the team. That affects the psyche of the owner basically sending the message to the team that, hey, we don't think that you're good enough. Even though you have a winning record and you're going to win the division, we don't think you're good enough, so we're going to fire the general manager. We think that you guys stink. How does that affect the team right now? What message does that send to the team right now? And what's stopping the team from saying, you know what, screw you guys. If you don't think we're good enough, if you're going to fire our GM in the middle of the season because you don't think that we're performing well enough, screw you.
Yeah, it's a shocker. I would have to say, and that's why I asked you, Derek. If I don't, like I said, this is unprecedented. So I think about what is the GM's presence. He's around the team a lot. John Robinson, I think, is a little bit more hands-on. We've seen clips of him on the field, even participating in drills. Sometimes, not every GM does that. A lot of GMs are in suits. You know, they're sitting up on a tower somewhere or in an office watching. So I do wonder what the discussions in the locker room are about with this. What is the reaction in the locker room? It's got to be surprising. It's got to be very surprising.
I'm sure it is surprising.
I'm surprised.
Everybody
is surprised.
Yeah. That's why I'm surprised that, and maybe it was a mandatory day off for coaches where they didn't have to, do any media, or wasn't obligated to do any media, or couldn't. But I wonder why they didn't just do the press conference yesterday at some point in the evening. Because today, I said this yesterday, Willie, today is Jacksonville. Now, instead of it being about Jacksonville, it's about John Robinson, which brings a distraction to everybody in the building. Because now this is the first time that everybody in the building has been together since the firing of John Robinson. Now they walk into that building. The first conversation, as soon as those guys walk through that door in the locker room, man, what happened? Nobody's talking about Jacksonville. Nobody in that locker room is talking about Jacksonville when they first walk in that building.
And what does Mike Vrabel, what this team, the idea that they constantly reiterate is, don't do dumb stuff that hurts the team. Mm-hmm. We don't care about distractions. We're focusing on the game. We're taking 1 week at a time, one game at a time. Well, this is a massive distraction that takes everyone's minds off of Jacksonville when you're in the middle of the season playing a divisional game on Sunday.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
And he's not involved in the game plan and everything. So, on one hand,
but it's still a distraction.
It is a distraction, and sometimes when you change coaches midstream, you're looking for that shock. You're looking for that jolt to get you back in the groove. Like we've talked a lot before this happened about how disappointing it's got to be to not be able to play to your identity, do what you do well, like physically up front. That's got to be tough to deal with. They're just not winning the battles on the line of scrimmage. Now, there's reasons for that we've discussed. You got a banged-up offensive line. You've got Jeffrey Simmons basically playing on one leg. You're missing Danico Autry, all of these things.
But even with the injuries, I still think this team has played to its identity. This team has still played really tough, even though they haven't won the games that they against some of the better teams in the league, the Bengals and the Eagles and the Bills. They still play to that identity.
How crazy is it, Derek, that I hit you with the questions, you and Chase, on Monday about where you guys thought the team would be? And Caroline, I'll ask you. If I'd have told you all of the things that happened, right? I was the Back to the Future, right? I got in the DeLorean, and I was sitting there after the game on Sunday, and then I went back in time to Labor Day weekend. You guys were chilling at the pool, and I come in from the DeLorean. I say, here's what's happened, guys. The Titans have had Harold Landry. He's out for the season. Torn ACL. Taylor Lewan, out for the season. Second game. Not going to play. Ryan Tannehill's going to have a high ankle sprain. He's going to miss 2 games. He's going to be hindered for the next month. Still dealing with it. Derrick Henry's going to be good, not Superman. I went down the list. I could go on for a lot of things. Here's all they're dealing with. What would you think their record would be? And I think we would all be honest. If we're being honest, 7-5 is about right. That would be a good, 7-5. Okay.
Yeah. I picked the Titans to go 10-7 at the beginning of the season.
Okay, and that's what I did as well. So they're sort of right on pace.
Very fair to what they'll end up being.
So it's not like they're way underachieving. That's why this is really puzzling to me.
They're making the
to do this now.
Yes, it is.
After the season, if you want to be a hardcore and say, look, it's not good enough, we want to win the Super Bowl, you want to go kind of George Steinbrenner, okay, people have done that before, right? I get that. I'm not on board with that philosophy, but I get it.
Let's go to your
During
phones.
the season, I don't get it.
Let's go to your phones. For lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Tristan is up next.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. Like the big deal with John Robertson, he gave that big contract to Ryan Tannehill. Like, why didn't they cut the salary of Ryan Tannehill? Like, he's not a big time quarterback like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford. That's one problem with John Robertson, that he gave that massive contract to Ryan Tannehill.
Well, if they were so upset with the contract with Ryan Tannehill, then why not fire him whenever he signed that contract with Ryan Tannehill?
They gave him an extension after that.
And look, Ryan Tannehill, say what you will, he's not a Superman, but he's been a savior. The trade of Ryan Tannehill is where you put at the top of the list of John Robinson buoying the team up to the next level.
And
True?
also, after Deshaun Watson, after Kyler Murray, the going rate for a starting quarterback in the NFL is $45 million a year. Ryan Tannehill does not make anywhere close to that.
Right.
I know he's not an elite quarterback. I know he's not a Deshaun Watson, but neither is Kyler Murray, and that's how much he's making.
Right. And the cap hit is huge this year because they moved it back to make the Julio Jones trade.
Right.
Which again, that didn't work.
Which was a bad decision
work.
that they made. Yet John Robinson still got extended after that move.
Exactly.
So anything that happened, the Ryan Tannehill contract extension, which I don't think has anything to do with this.
No.
Julio Jones, Caleb Farley, Isaiah Wilson, any of that. None of that has anything to do with
the Isaiah Wilson debacle, and it was a debacle.
A debacle.
It was over and done and put to bed way before they signed him to the 5-year extension.
Listen, if this was based on, and you know, Tristan brought up, they gave Ryan Tannehill all that money. He's not even ranked in the top 10 as far as quarterback money. He's not even ranked in the top 10.
And he's not a top 10 quarterback.
Exactly. But I'm saying it was just the going rate of a starting quarterback. In today's football, it's good to be a quarterback. Because if you are the starter, and if you've been starting for a few years and you've won some games, say if you've taken say if you're Ryan Tannehill, we're talking about now. You've been with this team since what, 2016? And you've been to the playoffs all but what, 1 year you've been here, 1 or 2 years you've been here? Two. This is what they got to pay you. And when your winning percentage is the way it is, they got to pay you this amount of money.
And compared to the market,
exactly.
This
is cheap.
So when Tannehill took over, they've made the playoffs every year.
But this is cheap considering being a starting quarterback on a team that has done what the Titans have done over the last 5 or 6 years. This is a bargain for them.
He's 36-17 since he took over as the starter. That's a feather in John Robinson's cap, a 4th-round pick to get a starting quarterback 36-17. I know he's flawed. He's not a great quarterback. That was a huge move.
It's got nothing
huge upgrade.
Nothing to do with Tannehill. But
No.
we will hear from Mike Vrabel in just under 30 minutes. We will play it live here on 102.5 The Game. We'll get your reaction in live time. What do you want to hear from Mike Vrabel in his press conference? What questions do you want answered? We'll get right to your phones. Plus, we'll answer that question coming up next. But first, D-Mase wants to tell you about Cool Springs MD.
Absolutely, Caroline. Cool Springs MD. I need to tell you about them, man. I know you're listening. So a sort of gloomy, rainy day. You're in your cars listening to us, or you're at work listening to us, or you could be in the gym room. So I want to tell you about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife Daphne, along with that experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. That's including me, people. My energy was low, wasn't feeling right, went to Cool Springs MD. Bam, I'm back to normal. They are there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. There's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle, people. So what are you waiting on, man? Give Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. You will not regret it. Here's the number, 615-486-3458, 615-486-3458. So if you're having trouble moving around, don't have that energy, call Cool Springs MD or go to their website at coolspringsmd.com.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I love it. OMG. I had no idea.
Oil Fire Whiskey is finally here. Oil Fire, a dangerously seductive spirit. You will like it. She will love it. Think you can handle it? Oil Fire, 70 proof whiskey. It's amazing.
Should you rent? Should you buy? This is Chad Withrow, and these are reasonable questions, but there are major advantages of owning a home as opposed to renting, like mortgage interest tax deductions, other tax benefits, plus the equity in the home becomes an asset. You really are throwing away your money when you rent. Let your money work for you. Give my friends a call at Regal Realty Group. Let them find you the right home. They do everything for you from contract to closing and everything in between. Give them a call at 833-OUTKICK. That's 833-OUTKICK.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. I started my first business in a dingy basement of a factory in 1986. Instead of customers, my visitors were rats, birds, flies, and snakes. To psych myself up that I was going to succeed, I wore formal business attire and a tie to that lonely factory basement every day. I was a total type A business geek, crunching spreadsheets for my accounting. Today, my fifth successful business, Patriot Software, makes accounting simple for accountants and non-accountants alike, eliminating the need for many of us business geeks to crunch spreadsheets or wear formal business attire ever again. Go to PatriotSoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of accounting software free. That's PatriotSoftware.com.
Accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Caroline Fenton in for Chase McCabe. We will hear from Mike Vrabel at the podium in 20 minutes. We will play that press conference live, so we'll get your live reaction in live time. But straight to your phones, as promised. Sean is up next on Sean Robinson. What's up, Sean?
Hey, guys. Good afternoon. I just got a couple quick ones, and then I'll hang up and listen. I've always put J-Rob in, like, the middle of the pack, maybe upper middle class of the pack as far as GM. So I can't help but think that there's just something we don't know yet. We keep laying out all the good and bad things he's done in the list since yesterday, but I don't know, in the back of my mind it just keeps creeping up that there's just something that's happened that we don't know yet. And that brings me to number two. As far as the press conference and Vrabel, I mean, if we find out what color pants Robinson was wearing this morning, it'll be more than we usually get out of Vrabel at the press conference. So anything at all would be nice. But I'll hang up and listen, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for your call, Sean. To his first point about there has to be more going on, I 100% agree. Because I think that there are two situations that could be possible. One, it was simply about A.J. Brown. And Amy Adams-Strunk was so flustered about that Eagles game that she thought it was worthy of firing John Robinson despite a winning record. That's one possibility. But I believe in Amy Adams-Strunk more than that. I think that she is a smarter and better businesswoman than that. Or there is more. and there was something going on behind the scenes, whether it was an internal feud that had gotten so bad between John Robinson and Vrabel that Vrabel got to the point where he said, Amy, I hammer me. I can't do it anymore. Or if there was something else that was going on. But I think those are the two probable options. It was either an overreaction from Amy Adams Strunk, or there's something that we don't know.
Well, if it was an overreaction, then we have huge problems. And I don't want to believe that is indeed the case. But because we don't know him, we may never know, and, then you got to sort of take the road that seems more plausible to you, or to us. And, whereas I don't want to believe that is the truth. But if that is, or if
then that's concerning.
It's very concerning that you would make a knee-jerk reaction like that with an owner that has been nothing but stellar. Again, I know we can point at his drafts or his free agencies pickups, but it's not like we don't see this from other GMs. But we just don't follow the other GMs, and we don't care about the other GMs. So we don't care how, other than maybe Indianapolis, Jacksonville, and Houston, we see how they're going. And we don't want to be those three teams right now. We don't care about other GMs.
But I would say there are a few other GMs in the league that are on the hot seat. I would say Steve Keim, one of them, Arizona Cardinals GM. But the Cardinals have a losing record. Mickey Loomis, Saints GM, is probably on the hot seat. The Saints have a losing record. I mean, those are all GMs and teams that have been going down this spiral of poor decision-making that has come to fruition on the field. And that's not the case with John Robinson.
But even with those GMs, you can say, well, in the Saints situation, well, he's won a championship, since he was there with Sean Payton.
Yeah. So long.
But I understand it's been long. But they were one of the upper echelon organizations for a 7-year period. From the time Drew Brees got there and got himself, and he and Sean Payton got on the same page, to the day he retired. This was a franchise that was always competing to play in a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Now, they may have had some down years here and there, but for the most part, like John Robinson, they were always in the playoffs, more than likely. They were always competing. They were always the teams that we were talking about. Before John got here, we were not talking about this Titans team. Since he's been here, while he was here, we have been talking about it. Now, it's not like he's flawless. He has his flaws. But I don't think his flaws were to a point where we fire him Tuesday morning out of the blue.
No, absolutely not.
Some people may think it is, but I'm just looking at the drafts. I'm looking at the free agencies. Everybody don't hit on every pick. Mm-hmm. Everybody don't hit on every free agent signing. So to me, it wasn't just that. It had to be more to it, or more people to it.
There has to be more to the story. But to the caller's second point about Mike Vrabel tells us what color pants John Robinson was wearing yesterday, that'd be more information than we ever get. I will say this in terms of expectations for Mike Vrabel's press conference, and y'all correct me if you think I'm off base here. This is not a press conference that Mike Vrabel can simply shrug off questions from the media. This is not a press conference that Mike Vrabel can simply coach speak his way out of or avoid the difficult questions. I mean, we deserve answers about what happened and what's the plan moving forward. What was the driving force behind this decision? And I know that there's going to be information that the Titans want to keep in-house, of course. But my expectation for Mike Vrabel here, and maybe it's not fair for Mike Vrabel to answer these questions, but he's the one that's speaking to the media. So people deserve answers. And
it is fair for him. He needs to either him or Amy needs to answer.
Isn't fair.
Yeah.
But Amy's not going to speak.
Well, I'm curious if they had a discussion yesterday when they did this, whether to have a press conference yesterday. They maybe say 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, where they had time to, okay, we've made this decision. Let's gather around. Let's talk about it. Let's get our talking points, and let's get out front of this, and let's just face the music today. Because Wednesday is your normal press conference where you got injury report, you're talking about the opposition, And today we're going to get to none of that, right? They've put it off until today. And, of course, the owner isn't going to speak, so it's all on the shoulders of Mike Vrabel here.
And the players. The players are going to have to answer these questions, too.
That's a great point. I hadn't even – but, yeah, and they had nothing to do with this.
Exactly.
But they're going to be asked about it for sure. So I do wonder if they considered having a press conference yesterday to get it all out yesterday so you can say, hey, look, we've answered those questions. We're now moving forward. We have to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a big game. We're trying to win a division title here.
Instead, they were radio silent yesterday.
So that's 2 incidents in a matter of 3 weeks that, this organization has been put not in a good light, but it's been put in a bad light. Obviously, the Downing thing brought unwarranted, eyes of publicity,
negative publicity,
or a distraction. It brought unwarranted distraction to this team. Now they handled it pretty good, but then 2 weeks later, the owner fires the GM. Now the owner, no one can talk to the owner right now. So who has to fill in the questions of these answers? The head coach and the players. Again, another distraction that they have to deal with going into a critical week. A game that I think they need to win.
Absolutely.
This is a big one.
For an organization that hates distractions. Coming up next, we are right to your phones, plus Mike Vrabel's press conference in 15 minutes. How do we expect Mike Vrabel to face the media? Chase, Willy, D-Mase is brought to you by Hair Club. Regrow your own natural hair through non-surgical options that deliver impressive results.
All right, let's talk Lee Company as well as we get to the break. Lee Company is a proud sponsor of our Nashville Predators coverage. That resumes tomorrow in Tampa. The Tampa Bay Lightning are the opponent. Ryan McDonough injured. A lot to deal with for the Predators for sure. That's the next adventure for them. They'll be heading down to Tampa today. Our coverage tomorrow on game day starts at 5 o'clock, face-off at 6. Lee Company also has great services for you. General maintenance at home or at work. You got a maintenance issue, you don't have a maintenance department. I know I don't at my house. I am not Mr. Fix-It. So I have the phone number all ready to go, 615-567-1000, or make an online appointment by going to leecompany.com. They have great services for you. Don't forget the bread and butter, as I call it, the heating, the cooling, the plumbing, and electric systems of your home. Stay on top of it. Stay ahead of the curve. Get those annual checkups with their home maintenance plan. It will work for you. It's going to save you money over the long term, and you'll get discounts on repairs when needed. 615-567-1000 or leecompany.com.
The Titans have fired General Manager John Robinson.
John is a good manager, but he's not the best. The guy continues to miss on first-round draft picks.
There are several things that justify this move being made, but at the time, I can't justify it.
Vice President of Player Personnel Ryan Cowden will take over for the rest of the season. What is next for the two-tone blue? Keep it locked to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity line of credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity credit line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have. Credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
When joint pains cause you to sit out on everyday activities, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Matthew Beal at Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Dr. Beal can diagnose your problem and treat the joint pain for both surgical and non-surgical matters. Board certified and fellowship trained, Dr. Beal specializes in hip, knee, joint replacement, and adult joint reconstruction. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more about Dr. Beal and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Hi, this is Ben Talbot, local owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. We have a lot to be grateful for this year, and I want to say thank you to our customers in Nashville and throughout Middle Tennessee. I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season from Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville.
312 Pizza Company is the official sponsor and location of Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Guys, we got breaking news.
The Titans have fired general manager John Robinson
with 5 games left in the season.
That's irrational to me. That's a terrible move.
Vice President of Player Personnel Ryan Cowden will take over for the rest of the season. What is next for the two-tone blue?
Yes, you can do better. You can also do worse. This is the gamble that they want to take.
Keep it locked to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is John Hines, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tune in for the NFL pregame show this Sunday live from Sunny's Patio Pub. And D-Mase from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. prior to the Titans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The NFL pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, Superbook Sports, and Ounce of Hope Cannabis Company. Mike Vrabel, in less than 10 minutes, we will carry that press conference live, so we will get your reaction in live time, plus our reactions as well. My question to you both and to the texters, the callers, to ponder before going into this press conference is, how do we expect Mike Vrabel to approach this press conference? How do we expect him to approach questions from the media? Because I can only tell that Mike Vrabel wants this to be about Jacksonville and Jacksonville only. He wants to talk ball. He wants to talk about what's going on this Sunday. But we know that's absolutely not going to be the case.
And he knows it. He knows he's got to be ready for this. This is a big one.
Mm-hmm. So how does he approach it? How does he answer these questions from the media? Will
he'll
he
be
continue
ready
to dismiss the questions like he does in the past? Will
I don't
he
think
continue
so.
to coach speak it?
I don't think so. I think you're going to get a dialed-in Mike Vrabel. He knows this is going to be very important. Well, there's going to be some coach speak.
He's going to try his best to give coach speak unless people press him for answers. That's the only way he's going to give more.
I also think 5 years ago, he probably would not have been ready for this. I think now he's been through this so long as a head coach. Mm-hmm. I think now he knows how important it is, and he knows he's got to be on point today with what he wants to say. You know, I don't think we're going to get the answers we want, but I think he is going to come out of it. Like I thought he handled the Downing thing pretty well.
I would agree. And I said at that time that was probably the most difficult press conference that Mike Vrabel has had to conduct. Mm-hmm. Today is going to be the most difficult press conference that Mike Vrabel has ever answered questions
and
about.
he now in the Downing thing, he had the ability to say legally this is what I can't discuss. This is not a legal thing. Like he's going to be pressed on, hey, were you on board with this? Were you not on board with this? I think we're going to try to pin him down. He's got to be ready to sort of thread the needle, to not throw his boss under the bus, but he's got to take some accountability too. And John Robinson was the guy that hired Mike Vrabel. And I think he's going to try to be appreciative of the good things about John Robinson. I think that's what I think he'll pivot to a lot of times, to say John did a great job to get us to this point.
But they can't let him
hear that
to
a lot.
They can't let him pivot to it.
This is like the debate, right? We always talk about debates. This is the back and forth of press conferences.
To your point about in the Todd Downing press conference when he could say, oh, well, that's a legal matter. I fear that Mike Vrabel will defer to, well, that's a question
you gotta ask
for
Amy. You got to ask Amy.
You're going to have to ask Amy.
And he could do that.
He can do that, but that's going to be frustrating. And that's only going to leave more questions for us, for the fans, for everybody around the league, everybody that's looking at the Titans like, why did you make this move? Let's go to your phones. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Cedric is up next.
Hey, what's going on? So, Derek, I talked to you about this a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. This roster is littered with players that nobody fears. This defenses don't have to scheme up for these guys. We're 0-3 in our last playoff games, and we're throwing the ball at the end of the game to Nick Westbrook-Akina and Khalif Raymond. We let Corey Davis walk for the same money that you paid Robert Woods. We're getting blown out in the Bills game, the Eagles game. And this is a roster. I said this yesterday to Carolyn and Jerry. This is a roster that is built. If we were in any other division in the AFC, we would have a losing record the last 3, 4, 5 years, and we would never make the playoffs. I think it's time that we give Amy Adams Strunk credit for making big boy moves in this market with a new stadium coming. The draft was here. And finally, we're not little old Tennessee, good old boys, all shucks. She made a move to make our team better. I love you, Amy. Thank you from this fan. Yeah, man, keep it coming, man. I'm getting my season tickets back. I love it. Holla.
I mean, I disagree.
Okay.
He has every right to feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, he's a ticket season. Well, he said he will be a ticket season holder again. So obviously, he's been to plenty Titan games, and he's paid a bunch of money to park and all this other stuff. So he's invested. I get it.
Fans have every right
Absolutely,
to feel how
you're
they
invested.
like.
I get it. But. Willie, I think we may have talked about this some months ago when the whole stadium thing was swirling and they were just getting down to the nitty gritty. Okay, are we gonna vote yes or no on this new stadium? How it's gonna look? What yada yada. We had a discussion, I believe, about how does this team look when a new stadium opens, and if they don't get this right, like. We understand that it's cool to go to the playoffs and everything, but you can't keep losing in the first round because they don't want to open up that new stadium and nothing has changed. When you open up that new stadium, you want there to be like just like a breath of fresh air, like a rebirth, like the team that is walking in this building. We're going to win the championship.
But is John Robinson what gives this team a breath of fresh air?
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is that
or parting ways with John Robinson?
I think this was a decision if it had continued with them getting bounced in the first round, being good but in a mediocre division.
Yeah, we talked about this before the season.
Is this a decision that Amy's going to have to make with both John Robinson and Mike Vrabel when they move in that new stadium?
Right.
Like, we can't keep this going.
It's a tough decision for Amy to make. And Mike Vrabel will speak with the media about the decision that was made yesterday to part ways with John Robinson. Coming up next, Mike Vrabel at the podium. Chase Willy, D-Mase 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a very rainy morning in the afternoon, very similar to yesterday, where a few on and off rain showers will be here and there. No significant weather and very warm once again. High temperatures in the upper 60s to right near 70 degrees.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Mike Vrabel is now at the podium addressing the Titans' firing of General Manager John Robinson.
I want to thank him for giving me the opportunity to lead this football team on the field, to coach it each and every day. And with that, obviously, change is never easy, but we realize that we all have a job to do. That job is evaluated each and every day. I told the team this. I met with all the staff, and that, we have a personal relationship with John, everybody here in some capacity. And so our personal feelings aren't what's important. What's important is that we respect and understand the decision, and that we, move forward aligned and do everything that we can to prepare our players and be great for them as we go out against the Jaguars at home with a division team.
Mike, to follow that up, are you going to have more control in personnel decisions moving forward?
Ryan Cowden and I will, continue to communicate in that process as we get down the stretch of trying to figure out the active roster, the players that are looking to return from injury. We've made a couple moves here. It's late in the season, so it's usually some guys from somebody's practice squad. So that process isn't going to change.
Where's Amy, Mike, and why on the heels of such a massive move would she not come to talk about it?
Well, I think let me just say that we all have tremendous support from Amy, from Kenneth, from Barkley, the infrastructure that they've put in place here with the facilities and the people. I'm confident that we have their full support. And to do our job and to move forward. Amy made a decision and made a statement. So all I can say is thanks for her support as we come to work each and every day.
You had mentioned moving forward, fully aligned. You had mentioned moving forward, fully aligned. Was there a degree where you guys weren't aligned?
No. I mean, I just, I think I want to be very conscious of that. With every department and every person in this building, whether it be the football team, the equipment staff, the coaching staff, the personnel side. I'm just very conscious of that and want to be respectful of anyone's personal feelings. Is the time that John spent here. That's all my focus is, and just making sure that those are understood and. But also respect the decision and make sure that we're doing our jobs better today than we did yesterday for the players.
So as far as you and John in the
John and I have a great relationship. I spoke with him at length last night, and thanked him for the opportunity, like I said, to coach this football team and to lead this football team. I asked him if there was anything that he wanted me to share with the players, which I did, because the timing of it, I know that, there was things that he wanted to thank the players, for their efforts, and he saw them each and every day. He signed them, he drafted them, and thanked them for what they, went through, and he sees the injury report the same as I do, and he knows that, they go through a lot, and so he wanted to thank them, and I did that.
How much did the way the game went down in Philadelphia Sunday, did that have any impact at all on the timing of this decision?
I know that Amy informed me of the decision, and I can't speak to the timing of it. I can't speak to the decision of it. So I'm sorry I can't help you.
I think those are things that Amy could speak to, which lends again to the question as to where's Amy right now?
Well, I can't. I'm not going to speak to her whereabouts. I think that I can only express the support that she's given us, given me as the head coach, and the communications that we've had since this decision.
Mike, what do you think the message that is being sent here from Amy to you all, but also to the players right now?
I think the message is the same as it's always been. Is we're charged to win, we're here to win championships. That we all have a job to do. That we're held to a high standard, and that we're evaluated each and every day on that job. And that's the same thing I told the football team and the players this morning.
She said that the roster construction was one of the major reasons. Were there people drafted and signed here who you did not want?
No. Again, John and I have and had a great relationship. He, included. I appreciate how he included the coaching staff in the evaluation process. Ultimately, I reported to John. John was the general manager. We communicated each and every day. Our focus was on the roster as it stands today, the guys that we have, the players that we're moving forward with to get ready for Jacksonville.
Do you feel like that roster construction was as much yours as his, or almost?
I think that we're all involved. Everybody here in this building, is responsible to do everything that we can to help the players and make sure that I'm doing my job to prepare them. And make sure that the message is clear, the keys to victory each and every week, and how we need to play to win the football game.
Do you feel like you had enough involvement in that construction?
I'm sorry?
Do you feel like you had enough involvement in the construction of this roster right now?
My focus is clearly on the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is like, what do we need to do? Who's going to be available to look back and to reflect? My job was to do everything and to support the personnel staff wherever I could, to make sure I coordinated the coaching staff and ultimately get the players prepared. That goes on this week. This is, again, the timing and the change is never easy. We recognize that. We're looking forward to it. The players had an unbelievable attitude. They're looking forward to getting back into football, after having lost. And, we try to explain to them that, we started the season 0-2. We won 7 of the next 9 games. We lost the 2 losses were against the teams that played in the AFC Championship game. After 9 quarters, we lost 2 games by 7 points, and we went on the road and got beat by a better team. And so I want to try to keep things in perspective. I've asked them to do the same thing and understand where we are and the opportunity that lies in front of us.
You just look back there. Doesn't this is a massive move for 20-minute conversation off of the Jaguars? That's a fair question. Did you have enough input into the
my message is to the players. That's my focus each and every day, is about them and how I teach them and the message that I try to convey to them. And whatever happened or whatever was in place, the only thing that matters now is what we do going forward.
Mike, was this move a surprise to you?
Again, change is never easy. I'm focused on where we're at right now. I think that, you know, there's surprises that happen each and every day. I respect the decision that Amy and the ownership group made. I appreciate their support as we move forward to play the Jaguars.
How much input will you have on who they name as the new GM?
I think we'll have, I would imagine, I don't know, we'll have conversations. I'll support them and help in the process however I can. We haven't had those conversations. So my focus, again, is now on today and where we're at. I will absolutely fill whatever role or help in any way when the time comes.
What role did you have? What, if any, role did you have in the evaluation of John and your eyes?
What role did I play in?
I mean, did you assist them at all in the evaluation? You evaluate the entire roster here and the team. Did you help at all in their evaluation of John?
No, I was informed of the decision, and not this wasn't a decision that was that included me. It was a decision that was made, you know, and I was informed of that decision.
Who has final say on the roster between you and Ryan?
I mean, I think ultimately Amy does. I would say that, you know, we're just trying right now to work forward to see where we're at with the guys to finish the season. You know, we've signed guys, we've brought guys in, we've signed John Reed, Terrell Basham before that. I don't see that as being something that's even, you know, any sort of issue. You know, I mean, we're trying to find some guys out there that may help us going down the stretch.
If there was an issue, though, that you and Ryan disagreed upon, whose decision would be the decision that ends up being made by the club?
I would imagine that Amy, the person that makes every, that would have the final say in every decision if we disagreed, and that's where we would leave it at.
It's a matter of personnel, like signing a linebacker or something?
I think we would consult, you know, with the ownership group, and, you know, I think we would come to a collaborative right now at this point in time. We would come to, you know, a collaborative agreement. I mean, this isn't, you know, I hate to say that, you know, it's going to be the different. I don't think that that's going to come up right now in December.
In the past, you had made comments along the lines, and I'm not saying word for word what you said, but along the lines of you could only coach the players that are provided to you. That could be interpreted as frustration with the roster. So I want to ask you.
Yeah, I would charge you to find that. My job, like I told you, each and every day is to find the guys that we have, find ways to make them better and to reach them on a personal level, to teach, to develop and inspire them to do their job, to make a personal connection with them. You know, I don't think, and I would hesitate to say that that's something that I said. So I'm excited about the new guys that we signed, that we're going to get ready to play in this game on Sunday. That's what we've always done. Find 48 guys somehow, some way to get ready to go win.
Paraphrasing, it was something like, this is how we have to play with what we have. Or to Ed Werder, who the hell would we throw it to if we wanted to throw it a bunch?
Again, I don't know where your question is.
The question is, were you restricted by the personnel that you had?
No, that's coaching. You know, that's coaching is, you know, figure out who's available, who you have, and find ways to win the football game. We're charged to win, and that's all we've ever tried to do is take that approach, put ultimate importance on the players, and trying to teach them, understand what wins in this league week to week. And for the most part, we've done a pretty good job at it, and it has to continue to improve. It has to be better in all areas.
The other major hindrance the roster's had has been on account of injuries, which are out of whack with the majority of the league in terms of numbers. Is there a point at which you're determined to get to the bottom beyond bad luck of what's gone on with this team and injuries that's put you in position to have such roster strength?
Yeah, we'll evaluate everything, you know, to try to make sure that, you know, there's nothing more important than the health and safety of our football team. You know, we'll make sure that, you know, we evaluate everything that we do and who's suffering the injuries, where they're occurring, and how best to, one, avoid them if you can, and two, treat them when they occur.
Do you expect to have the same level of input, Mike, with the new GM, or more on personnel matters?
My focus today is trying to get this team ready for the Jacksonville Jaguars when those conversations come up, and if I'm asked, then we'll have those conversations. But I'm focused on making sure that we have a great walkthrough, that we go out there to practice, that we get going on these individual drills to fix the technique and the details and the fundamentals that show up when we win, and make sure that they try to execute the keys and work through practice.
John Robinson was fired. John Robinson was fired yesterday. So your focus today on the Jaguars is kind of misplaced in terms of what the news event for the organization is. It's not an unreasonable question to want to know what your input level would be with the new GM.
I think it would, because it's not, my input hasn't been asked, and I don't think that process has started, to the best of my knowledge. So, I would imagine that it would, and but I know what my job is. I know what I came here to do today, and that's where my focus is.
Have you had time to sit down with Amy yet? And if not, do you have any plans here in the near future?
Yeah, we've had conversations extensively yesterday, and again, appreciate the support and appreciate the direction and also her leadership that she's shown us, and excited to see her Friday if she can come to practice and when she's in town.
Was she adequately informed on the AJ trade?
I'm sorry?
Was Amy adequately informed ahead of time on the AJ trade?
I didn't have conversations with Amy, so I can't speak to that and how that process went. That wasn't something that I did.
She was in the room, correct?
Amy was I think, to the best of my knowledge, in the draft room, and so that's I can't answer that.
Are you guys talking openly about the AJ trade in the room?
I would say that those conversations happened between, John, who was the general manager, and Amy, and whatever ownership group and whatever direction that they wanted to go. That's how those things happen. When you sign players on free agency, or you make trades, or you draft players.
You said at the time that you were on board with the AJ trade when it happened, and that you and John had talked about it and shared a wall. Do you still feel that way about the AJ trade?
Here's what I feel. I feel like, to look back in the past and second guess, like we made a decision, and that we felt like was in the best interest of the football team, and the decision in that we wanted to head at the time. And so, AJ's in Philadelphia, and we're moving forward. Of course, Like we all, again, there's decisions, and then when you make decisions, you respect them, and you make sure that, again, we find ways to prepare the players to win, and that we ultimately win, and that we're doing our job, and that we're held to a high standard.
But just to clarify, Mike, then you were in the discussions to some extent at that time on the AJ trade?
I'm pretty much, in my history here, have been aware, I would say, of almost everything that's, happened on a personnel standpoint. There's been, John and I, again, have a great relationship, had a great professional relationship, and that's how things work.
Your discussions with Amy, what's the sense you got for why now, and would you have rather this happened after the season?
Those aren't things that I needed to, ask. It was, I'm prepared and to put a plan in place, to work with Ryan, to support the staff, everybody, each and every department, the best that I can, and most importantly, put the players first. what they need.
When she makes a decision like that, clearly she wants something to change in the direction. Did she ask you to do anything different or more than you're currently doing?
No, I just continue to lead how I see and what I think is best for the players each and every day, for this staff each and every day.
How long have you been made aware of Amy's, I guess, frustrations with the roster? Has that been something she's been in communication with for a long time?
No, I mean, I was informed, yesterday of her decision, and that's how, and then we moved forward. And then I, started discussing, and they met with Ryan, and we moved forward and tried to get everything going, met with the staff, and, expressed to them, the same things that we've said, since I've been here is you have a personal relationship with John, but we also have a professional responsibility to this football team, to the players, to the organization, to do our job as well as we can do it.
You mentioned the importance of separating the emotions, especially with everything going on as you get ready for the Jaguars. How difficult has it been to separate those emotions the last 72 hours?
It's, I don't know if it's been difficult. It's been something that I've had to certainly manage. And again, I appreciated the phone call with John last night. Appreciated it a lot, and I just was, after figuring things out yesterday and working through
All right, that was Mike Vrabel's press conference, and we'll get it back. We lost it for just a moment. We'll get Mike Vrabel back at the podium. But so far, where it is right now, Mike Vrabel is insisting a few things. One, he was informed of the firing yesterday when it happened, that he had no input into the decision. He was made aware of any frustrations, or he didn't say that. He didn't say that he was made aware of frustrations. He just said, I was made aware of the decision yesterday.
He basically, without saying it directly, said it was Amy Adams Strunk's decision. It was her decision, not his decision. Fair to say?
That's what he says.
I mean, if you read everything he's saying, I think that's the message I'm getting, is that he's talked to John Robinson. He's very appreciative. He has a great relationship with John Robinson. Talked to him last night. So, but he would not say he was surprised, not surprised. He was not pinned down on that.
He said
on whether
he
was surprised with the decision.
Yesterday.
He was informed of the decision.
changes.
And the timing is never easy.
Here's Mike Vrabel.
But we realize that we all have a job to do. That job is evaluated each and every day. I told the team this. I met with all the staff, and that, we have a personal relationship with John, everybody here in some capacity. And so our personal feelings aren't.
All right, we will react to Mike Vrabel's press conference, plus your thoughts as well. We'll get into that coming up next. Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee.
We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay. We are.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I think it was a good game. You had a couple of big plays. The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to JarrettFire.com. JARRETT Fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
There's no gift that's more beautiful, more versatile, or more meaningful than a beautiful piece of jewelry gifted from the heart. And there's no better place to find that gift than Genesis Diamonds. At Genesis, making memorable moments is our specialty. This holiday season, we put together our most impressive selection of can't-miss gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, from $100 to $250,000. And now through December 12th, we're offering 5 years, zero-interest financing on any holiday purchase with absolutely nothing down. So the beautiful Eternity Band is just $50 a month. Or that 2-carat pair of diamond stud earrings, just $100 a month. Everything's included in this amazing offer. Even our huge selection of hand-picked GIA-certified diamonds, and our luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Make it a Christmas to remember with something special, something timeless, and something beautiful from Genesis Diamonds. Get 5 years, 0-interest financing with 0 down now through December 12th. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs on approved credit.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Titans fans, the after-game party is at the all-new Superbook Lounge at Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville. The Superbook Lounge is a sports viewing mecca with the largest screens on Broadway. Plus, 102.5 The Game's NFL postgame show will be broadcasting live, featuring Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow from Outkick 360. Party after the game at the Superbook Lounge and enjoy the ultimate in sports viewing while you take in the postgame show. Brought to you by Superbook Sports, Two Rivers Ford, and Renters Warehouse.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
WPRT Pegram, WBUZ HD2 Laverne. We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mace with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Our video streaming is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Mike Vrabel at the podium just spoke with the media. The first time that we have heard from anyone within the Titans organization since firing General Manager John Robinson. And going into his press conference, I said there's something that I want to hear and something that I fear I will hear. And what I wanted to hear was Mike Vrabel take the coach mask off and answer the questions that are all fair questions that were asked by the media and be at least a little bit transparent as to what happened behind the scenes, why this move was made, his involvement in it. And I said, I fear that I'm just going to get, that's a question for Amy. I fear that I'm going to hear, we're on to the Jacksonville. It's going to be coach speak after coach speak, coach after coach speak, and my fear was realized because that's what we heard from John Robinson was a whole lot of covering up.
I will say this. I thought the media did a very good job of asking the right questions and following up appropriately and not crossing the line. And Mike Vrabel, I felt like he knew the storm was coming. I thought he did the best he could. I could sense he was really trying to be respectful to John Robinson and also make sure he didn't cross Amy Adams Strunk. It seems clear to me that he is putting forth, without directly saying it necessarily, that this was Amy Adams Strunk's decision. Now, that's what he's saying. I don't know. It's hard to know what the conversations were leading up for weeks, for months, on all that was going on. But I think he did a pretty good job under the circumstances, and I think it leaves everybody, just kind of like we thought it would be, it leaves everybody saying, we would really like to hear from the owner. If it was the owner's decision, we would really like to hear her thinking in making this decision now. After the season, I don't know if we'd be pressing the owner necessarily on this. Not as much, but during the season, it's unprecedented. It's unprecedented. I cannot find an example. I can't think of one. Nobody has come up with, hey, well, this happened in 2003 with this team. It happened in 2000. When a team is leading in the division, they've got a 61% winning percentage. They've been to an AFC championship game. They've won 2 straight division titles and probably are going to win a 3rd straight. It doesn't happen in the middle of the season. It just doesn't. So we got to hear a little bit more of what's the thinking here.
But I'll disagree with you because I think any time a move like that is made, you fire a GM, you fire a head coach, whether you are 3-14 or whether you are 7-5 and going to win the division and going to make the playoffs. Whenever you make a big decision, even if people understand why, ownership should explain it.
I agree. No, I agree with you.
GM should explain why a coach is fired. An owner should explain why a GM is fired. That's what people are owed, an explanation. But then you add in the fact that the Titans do have a winning record, that John Robinson does have a winning record, the fact that the Titans have been to the playoffs in 4 of the last 7 years. I think that those are all fair questions that Amy Adams Strunk should ask.
I agree.
And it's not fair of Mike Vrabel to have to answer those questions that Amy Adams Strunk really should.
He just took the first wave of the barrage.
Yes.
Well, I mean, She's going to answer questions. She will. But sadly, I believe it's going to be done on state-run TV. It's going to be done in a fashion where she knows the questions, she preps for the questions, and then go out there and answer. I'm afraid that's how it's going to be. I think she's going to talk about this, but it may be at the end of the season. And it will be done by someone in-house, and we all know who that person is that will conduct the interview. It's going to be state-run TV. So she's prepped for every question that will be asked. There may be some hard questions in there too, but she will be prepped. She won't be pressed. She will answer the questions just good enough to make Titans fans feel good. And that is her job as an owner. And it's state-run television's job to make sure the owner looks good in this situation. So don't be surprised if when she does talk, that it's done and conducted in a way that they control the narrative. They control everything about the interview.
That'll be interesting to see if that happens or she writes a letter to the fan. There's a lot of things that could happen. I hope, though, that she appreciates how tough that was for Mike Vrabel and the position that she put him in today. That was brutal for him to have to go do that and have to tiptoe around and be very, very careful. You could tell he was being very careful on how he said it.
And having to answer difficult but very fair questions from reporters of, hey, can we just, were you aware?
They were hard, but they were fair questions.
Fair questions.
Agreed.
Were you aware of the situation? How much did AJ have to do
Look,
with it? How much did the
he had to admit,
team have to do with it?
He had to admit, Amy was in the room.
He tried to skirt around it a little bit.
He tried
There's
to.
a photo of it.
Yeah.
Titans tweeted it out.
He had to admit that, yes, he's involved. Like, he clearly was not on board. That happens, right? When you make a tough trade, I'm sure you have a tough discsion. People
You're not
are
always on board.
Right, and so John had
And
the final
he's never
decision.
come out
But for
and
Amy
said that he
Adams
was
Strunk, for this is, I'd be calling up Adam Schefter if I were the Titans, and I would say, Adam, where are you getting this? This is where. So where did this report come from that she felt like she wasn't involved in the decisions? Where's that coming from?
What decisions was she not involved in?
Yes.
Because the only glaring one we can see is the A.J. Brown.
And she
was
in
the room.
She obviously knew about it.
Exactly. So what other decisions that were made in regards to this team? Did she not know about the Corey Davis? Did she not know about the Jonnu Smith? Did she not know about the Julio Jones wanting to sign him? She had to know about all this stuff.
Then why fire him 2 years after those moves?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
They gave him an extension in February, 5-year extension. So anything
some don't smell
that,
good here.
Yeah.
Some don't smell good, Carolyn.
What we've heard reported from Adam Schefter, what we've heard from Mike Vrabel, and what our common sense tells us, those things just don't add up. But what does Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton think about it? We will chat with him coming up next. His reaction to Mike Vrabel's press conference on the firing of Titans general manager John Robinson. We'll get into that coming up next. Chase, Willy, D-Mase, and also the Preds have a game tomorrow night, and it is your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click, brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. If you correctly guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game tomorrow night, you win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Participate in Pick to Click tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. with Robbie and Rex Road.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
But can you make your parlays pop this holiday season? I made some pop on Sunday, and it was a good day. Win some money from Vegas with weekly parlay bonuses from Superbook Sports. If you place a 3-team football parlay, Superbook will give you a $10 bonus voucher. It's your holiday bonus, courtesy of my friends at Superbook Sports. Rack up the wins and earn some holiday cash by betting parlays with Superbook. So just download the Superbook Tennessee app and place your parlays today. Looking ahead to Sunday, some things that maybe stand out. Titans -3.5 at home against the Jags. How about this? The Vikings +2.5 on the road against the upstart Detroit Lions. You could look at that, and maybe Buffalo laying 9.5 at home against the Jets. Those are just some games that you could possibly parlay together. Download the Superbook Sports app. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Achieve hero status this year. The woman in your life will love this unique and thoughtful gift. Always in style, always fits, always appreciated. Choose your budget, and whether you spend a little or go lavish, she can choose from 10 different services, all under one roof at a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. Gift cards can be printed directly from the website, or they can be beautifully wrapped for a stunning presentation and even paired with other gifts like robes, candles, and all sorts of fun finds from the Gift Boutique. Learn more about this at amomentspeace.com/Christmas.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have. Credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
I love this show.
Never miss a moment of the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Subscribe to the Chase, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Where's Amy, Mike, and why in heels is such a massive move? Would she not come to talk about it?
Well, I think, let me just say that, we all have tremendous support from Amy, from Kenneth, from Barkley, the infrastructure that they've put in place here with the facilities and the people. I'm confident that, we have their full support, and to do our job and to move forward. Amy made a decision and made a statement. So all I can say is thanks for her support as we come to work each and every day.
There you go. That was Mike Vrabel, took the podium. The first person within the Titans organization to address, at least in person, the firing of General Manager John Robinson. And joining us now is Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton. Hutton, first question for you. Your overall takeaways, your first reaction to Mike Vrabel's press conference.
I thought that was extremely weak on behalf of Mike Vrabel and the entire Titans organization, starting with Amy Adams Trump. For the fans out there, they're like, oh, this is great. Listen to Vrabel not answering the media's questions. He's not answering your questions. And quite frankly, any speculation that any media member in town or any fan wants to call in with is fair game now, because the Titans are saying nothing. They're not clarifying anything. So I was listening to Rex Rode this morning, Caroline, and he's ranting about Stillman. Anything Stillman wants to throw out there is fair, because the Titans are acknowledging nothing. And that's an issue, because on December the 6th, they're firing the general manager. And this is an organization that claims when the going gets tough, they don't point fingers. They just pointed the finger for the first time. And that's really interesting, that they'll stand at a podium with the head coach and he won't even directly say whether or not Amy Adams Strunk knew about the A.J. Brown trade. It was bizarre.
It was, Hut. I mean, we're sitting here and we're listening to it, and we're thinking, like, that can't be true. She was in the room. We can't believe as fans and people that cover this team that she was in the room, and we all saw the reaction of Mike Vrabel when the trade was made. So she was sitting there, and no one told her or informed her that, hey, you are the owner. Hey, owner, we're trading one of our best players. Nobody said that to her. And she's expecting us to believe that. And then Vrabel's.
Well, no, she's not saying anything.
Well, Vrabel's.
We don't know if she's expecting that.
He wants us to believe sort of that. Well, I don't know if she knew. I can't recollect whether she was in a room or not. You can't. Vrabel, you know a lot of things. You are aware. You can pull back stuff that you did 10 years ago on the football field. But you can't tell me that you don't know if the owner was in the room or not when that trade was made. Come on, seriously?
It's odd. And I mean, just go back to the details. John Robinson, when they traded A.J. Brown at the presser, acknowledged that the deal was made late in the afternoon in the war room leading up to everything. Like, they had already talked with Philly based on a situation at pick 16. So again, like it's not like he just picked up the phone and made a trade. This had been discussed within the building, and Robinson acknowledged that. Vrabel was sitting there at the presser too. And I mean, we saw the reaction. I mean, there's no doubt Vrabel was pissed about it. And he doesn't necessarily have to be on board with it. I certainly wasn't. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you have to pretend you don't know the details. They basically got on the stand today and pled the fifth, which is ridiculous. Considering, I mean, they treated Robinson like Ken Wisenhunt today, which is odd based on what he meant to the organization compared to the guy that I'm mentioning with Wisenhunt.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton is with us, and I'm with you. I mean, the Titans have a winning record right now. John Robinson, in his time with the Titans, has a winning record. They're going to win the division. They're going to the playoffs. So with that kind of circumstances, an explanation is completely fair. But with the facts that we know, John Robinson gets fired. Adam Schefter comes on ESPN yesterday, says Amy Adams Strunk, or he didn't say that explicitly, I'm just assuming that it came from Amy, that there was nothing more that went on behind the scenes. Okay, well, Mike Vrabel said today that he was informed of the decision yesterday, right when it happened. Well, then, okay, well then, was he just fired based off of the Philadelphia game? Well, that's not very good ownership. Well, Adam Schefter says that Amy Adams Strunk was frustrated with not being informed with decisions. Well, she knew exactly what was going on with the A.J. Brown trade, so what decisions was she not informed about? All of these things that we have been told, and with the very little information, factual information that we have, none of this makes sense, and I'm trying to rationalize it in my head, Hutton, and I simply cannot.
Well, I mean, it's not, but based on the history of what she's done in 8 years, she has allowed her football personnel to do the football decision-making. It's not like she meddles in the decisions. Now, she would also, I mean, Robinson's checks are signed by the same person that would sign A.J. Brown's checks. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if we want to talk money and lowball offers and they trade A.J. Brown, I mean, the reports were that they were offering somewhere between 16 to 20 million, and A.J.'s agent played it perfectly, and A.J. won. But I mean, it's also convenient that it's not being brought up that Jeffrey Simmons has already said through an interview that they've told him that money could be an issue. he's still on the roster. I mean, to me, it's very bizarre that it's one trade with A.J. Brown. It's not that one issue. I think it's a culmination of things, and clearly, because of how coy they're playing with all this, something happened behind the scenes. The speculation is wide open now because they're not wanting to tell us, the fans, the media, whoever, exactly what went down and how this came about, because you don't make Willie, I heard you earlier say it's unprecedented, and we discussed it yesterday, and I'm with you. You don't make a move like this on December 6th. You make this after the season. If it's based on results, by the way, I'm all on board with this. I've been on the soapbox all year saying AFC South championships and waving that banner simply isn't good enough. Mm-hmm. The bar has been raised. And if that's the case, and if it's about results, allow the results to happen. And if nothing else, this decision tells us that the guy that built them up to these expectations, they don't trust to get them back to those same expectations in a year where they're going to the playoffs anyway. It's a head scratcher, and it's, to me, this was the worst handling of any situation I can think of since Amy has been the controlling owner. It's very odd that she wasn't available to speak on behalf of the team for a decision that she made, because Vrabel is telling us it was only her. He had no input. If that's true, Vrabel doesn't need to be thrown to the wolves in this situation. And Vrabel also, if he's thrown to the wolves, doesn't need to stand up there and try to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars today. That was awful.
Yeah, I knew that Vrabel was going to hide behind either Amy or the Jags game, and that's exactly what he did. Jonathan Hutton is with us, Outkick 360. What do you make of Vrabel's comments about him and his duties and how it will be split with Ryan Cowden, and Mike Vrabel saying that Amy has final say with personnel decisions?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of decision-making that will be going on with, they have a little over $2 million in cap space. There's no more trades that can be made. There's nothing they can really do front office-wise except for going scout. Like, that's really what they're doing now, is scanning player personnel, which is Ryan Cowden's area of expertise, and they're getting ready for free agency in the draft more than they are, trying to find offensive linemen. Offensive linemen on the street right now can't even make a USFL roster. So they're in a world of hurt, and you can point the finger at Robinson for that, but there's nothing that Robinson can do now except for actually try to prepare to improve it. And now it's Cowden until they do the search, but the search can't even happen right now because the people that they'll interview are currently in other front offices across the league. So that's why the timing's weird. You don't get ahead of a coaching search where you can in a coaching search. And the GM search, I'm not sure how you ask for permission while teams are going around trying to make sure that they're preparing for the playoffs. Because, let's face it, hell, who knows? Vrabel loves dipping into the Houston pool. Maybe they are going to go after someone in Houston because their season's over. I'm tongue-in-cheek there, but the best player personnel people in the league are in the playoffs, and that would include people in the Titans building. So I guess Cowden has a leg up. But I said yesterday, and I think it's pretty obvious, if Ryan Cowden's the general manager, Mike Vrabel is the general manager.
And you hit on something that I completely agree with, and I think the most confusing part of it for me is the timing of all of this. But what's next for the Titans? That's what I want to get into with Hutton coming up next. But first, Hutton wants to tell you about Edley's.
Yeah, Edley's Barbecue. Lunchtime is here, and they have plenty of options for you across Middle Tennessee. Now 5 locations, 12 Southeast Nashville, Sylvan Park, Donaldson. They're now open in Lenox Village, brand new location. Beautiful spot, great food, Nashville-style barbecue with Edley's Barbecue. Voted Nashville's best barbecue 4 years in a row. I have vouched for their Nashville-style barbecue for far longer than that. And from corporate meetings to the holiday parties you have coming up, Christmas, maybe it's the office party, family gatherings, they've got you covered on the catering. You can visit the website for more information, edleysbbq.com.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yost.
Matt Duchene.
Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Fred's Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments, so the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industries. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at harmanenergy.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
This message is for the guy who isn't perfect in the bedroom. And let's be honest, who is? Maybe the issue is getting it up, or keeping it up, or maybe it's finishing too soon. If any of these performance hiccups sound familiar to you, don't sweat it. Hims can help. At 4hims.com, you can go online and get clinically proven prescription medication that treats these issues, prescribed for you, if appropriate, by licensed medical providers. And the medication is shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. No one's perfect in the bedroom every time, but with Hims, you can get a lot closer than before. And chances are, your partner will agree.
To get started today, go to 4hims.com/perfect. That's 4hims.com/perfect for your free visit. FORHIMS.com/PERFECT.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, it's Max Kellerman, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Caroline Fenton in for Chase McCabe. We are joined by Jonathan Hutton, sponsored by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars and Edley's Barbecue. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars is the go-to spot in Nashville for the best old-fashioned and nice relaxing cigar and lots of high-end spirits and wine. Jonathan Hutton, brought to you by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. Visit Blend Bar in the heart of downtown Nashville today. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars, luxury redefined. Hutton, my question is, we can, deliberate on why this move was made in the first place, why the timing, why now. We can go back and forth all day, but my question for you is, what does this mean for the team moving forward? Short term, against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday, and long term, of who's doing the drafting, who's in control of this team, and how do you feel about it?
Short term, Caroline, I don't think it matters one bit. It's the same roster. It's the same coaching staff that refuses to make a change at left tackle. It's a run game that has been awful since week 9, week 10. So through the first 9 games, the first 9 weeks, Henry was number 1 in the league in rushing. And since week 10 to now, he's 22nd in the league in rushing. He's barely averaging over 2 yards per carry. So, it's that the team is the team, and the best players aren't playing the best football. It's not all on Henry. I'm not trying to say that either, but it's on the best players to step up and lead. And that's what they'll have to lean on. It's also a roster, Caroline, that with John Robinson, Vrabel admitted, again, Vrabel was more honest after the loss than he was today, saying that the roster's at a crossroads, that the season's at a crossroads. And he's saying this is the time of year where if you are a legitimate contender, you are playing your best football going into the postseason. And he acknowledged, because the players absolutely know it, without it needing to be said, that they're not a good football team right now. They're not playing like it. Kevin Byard acknowledged it before the week even started in Philadelphia, going into week 14 now. So it's still the same situation. It's just an added distraction that Vrabel had to manage. I think that's the toughest part, is how he addressed everything with the team today, and then how they lock in and move forward. They're going to make the postseason. They're a win away from clinching the AFC South. And then it's about trying to even marginally improve certain areas to where you give yourself a chance in the playoffs. But, I mean, this is a signal that if they didn't like the personnel that John Robinson was bringing in and they fired him, I mean, the roster is put together by John Robinson. The players have to be looking around going, well, I guess they're buying into the expectations of this team, which, I mean, I'm on board with. I don't think they're winning a game in January whenever it counts. And I don't think many people in this town, in this city, buy it either. And we'll judge them whenever that game actually happens. But they're going to have some guys that actually step up and really take over, more than just role players, more than like Stonehouse pinning a guy inside the 10. It's going to take Henry, Simmons, Dupree, Byard, and, offensively, Ryan Tannehill trying to spray the football around a bit without Traylon Burks, who's in concussion protocol.
Now, Jonathan, we obviously, Amy was nowhere to be found. She put out a statement, which, okay, it's cool. We understand. But I had a discussion with Caroline during the break. I think she will talk, but I think it will be on state-run TV. I think it will be questions that she knows and that she, answers before, that she's prepped before. So when she gets on, she's able to answer the questions in such a way that the fans feel good about it, in a sense. And I just think that's unfair to the fan base. I think they need to know right now why you, as an owner, chose to make this change. Making this change and a coaching change is two different things. They weren't going to fire Vrabel, but offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, whoever, making that change during the season, you don't like it, but you can sit with that a little bit better than making a change with your GM, who put together this roster. Didn't expect us to believe that it had nothing to do. Everybody was on the same page. Well, we just felt we had to go in a different direction. But I believe she will talk, but it will be through Titans media.
Yeah, and just from experience, normally in a situation like this, they would tape that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if they have or not. I'm not with that. I'm not in the behind the scenes like that. But based on my experience, they would have taped that yesterday and just, it's that day's story. You hit it and you move forward, instead of taping or doing something 2 weeks from now that you're rehashing what you did in December or the first week of December. Again, maybe so. Think about what they have coming up with. She's going to be made available at some point to discuss. I would expect to discuss the stadium stuff whenever that's actually approved and they break ground. I mean, it's not like she's not going to be in front of a camera at some point with the media. But yeah, I mean, and for the record, the mantra with many of the fans was J-Rob we trust. This was not this year, but 2 years ago. Amy has made great hires.
Mm-hmm.
She really has. So, I mean, if you're putting trust in someone, people are looking at Vrabel. I mean, I do trust Amy Adams Strunk to go through a process where they're going to hire the best candidate and assess the situation. Now, she can also simply say, hey, and lean into Vrabel's input, which he's absolutely going to have input. But yeah, I don't know, Mace, if they're going to do that, because again, I feel like they would have done that with Mike or Wyatt yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a 5-minute thing, it's a 5-minute thing, and then it's over.
No, you could be right about that, Hut, that they choose to do it. But it's just if you're going to if this is something you're going to do on a Tuesday when the day the players are off and the coaches are not doing interviews, then you should make yourself available ASAP. This is the decision you made. This is the decision based upon what the coach said you informed him of Tuesday morning.
Well, yeah.
So, but he has to answer all these questions.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so look, the PR staff can give input on whether or not they feel like she should speak. And I don't know if they did or not. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But ultimately, if she doesn't want to speak, she's the owner. She doesn't have to speak. I mean, we've seen this before with other owners across the league. So, but if that's the case, Robinson or Vrabel in this situation for anything else would be speaking on her behalf. Or in the past, Steve Underwood would be speaking on behalf of the organization. And that's where it's just odd. If Vrabel's up there and he's speaking on behalf of the organization, he's got to do a better job than trying to talk about the defensive back who they signed today randomly because they're short on depth. I mean, that's not the time and place if you go into a presser knowing that you're going to get these questions. The players are going to answer more questions than Vrabel did today, and that's unfortunate.
But, okay, with that being said, and you just referenced, past history, whether, it was when Bud was here with us and he would have Steve Underwood, address everybody with decisions that he's made or anybody else.
Yep.
Why
and Steve did that for the previous GM firings.
Exactly. So why would you then have Vrabel address it if you don't see him at some point having a bigger role in this organization other than being head coach?
I'm not trying to say that they had Vrabel address it specifically. Look, Vrabel is based on the NFL and the media pool. Every team has to make their coach available Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday and Monday. So, I mean, that's just what he was required to do based on the agreement with the NFL.
But I'm saying, like, I'm agreeing with you that someone should have been there with him to open it up, to address all questions about Amy.
Yes.
And then, obviously, Vrabel would have got on the podium. He would have had to ask some of those questions, but a lot of those questions would have been answered already.
No doubt. Yeah. And that's why I called it weak. I thought it was extremely weak on behalf of the organization.
Jonathan,
just putting Vrabel up there and not doing anything to answer the questions that all the fans are asking about and speculating about.
Jonathan Hutton is with us, Outkick 360. Hutton, what do you think happened? Why did John Robinson get fired yesterday?
I think it's a culmination of a really bad roster and terrible drafts. It starts with Isaiah Wilson. But I mean, you can go back a couple of free agents probably before that. But this idea that Vrabel wasn't on board with many of these guys. I mean, let's start, like, the first draft pick was Rashaan Evans, who was not good. And that was the first real time we saw Vrabel on the road scouting. He was working out Rashaan Evans down in Tuscaloosa. That was their first draft pick together. Again, you can go through all this stuff. I don't think they were, like, out of sync or not communicating. But Vrabel referenced this. He would report to John Robinson. So something happened behind the scenes with those two, and the fact that they've running it back, Caroline, this year, knowing that the window was open 2019, 2020, 2021. And I was saying at the time, like, you can point back and say, oh, look at the staircase climb. You have to strike when the iron's hot. And the really good front offices are able to lengthen and stretch moments, windows. And how you screw it up is by going through a stretch run that Robinson and his scouting department, Ryan Cowden's, by the way, is a part of it, that made some awful choices. And, I mean, if you're going to go through some of these signings, half of them are from Houston, where Vrabel had a relationship with those guys. So, I mean, I think it's a culmination of a lot of things, frustration and more. But the fact that they're running it back and you can see the car crash at the end of the road, and that they acknowledged it at 7-5 after losing to Philadelphia. Yeah. And the night of the trade is the big gamble. That's where everyone perked up and said, what are they doing? What's he doing? They just did what? But it's more than that. There's a series of this. And, I'm not saying every head coach and GM agree on every player that's acquired, but Vrabel does more with less. And that's why he should be a part of the Coach of the Year candidates again this year. Vrabel's not the problem. He did more with that roster than anyone could possibly expect. But Robinson got them to a point where I felt like the way they've handled this deserved better than a firing in week 14 before they actually go back to the playoffs yet again and win the AFC South yet again and have a chance to host a playoff game to prove us wrong. Because we've been shouting from the mountaintops that the team sucks, and they keep telling us that they're good.
And that's what I want to get into coming up next, because you talk about the night of the AJ trade. Is that when everything went wrong? But first, Hutton, where can the people find you on Sunday night?
Sunday, we've got a post game, and man, if Jacksonville wins that game, watch out. Watch out. No, it's going to be fun. Withrow and I, we've had a blast doing this on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. We've got NFL post game, and it's live from Margaritaville and Landshark Bar and Grill and Sportsbook with Superbook Sports, Renter's Warehouse, Two Rivers Ford. We're live on the second floor of Margaritaville and Broadway, and they've got massive TVs. We're watching all of the late afternoon games leading up to Sunday Night Football. We're recapping mostly Titans, and we're giving all the scores and fantasy football news for your drive home from the game or for your reaction to how everything plays out. So I hope you join us. That starts at 4 o'clock.
All right, appreciate you, Hutton. We'll chat with you next week.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right, coming up next, the AJ trade. The night that happened, is that where everything went wrong? Is that the entire story? We'll get into that coming up next. Plus your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Gem Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a very rainy morning in the afternoon, very similar to yesterday, where a few on and off rain showers will be here and there. No significant weather and very warm once again. High temperatures in the upper 60s to right near 70 degrees.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines, like trendy, so are man buns, or great potential, just like your ex. Must see inside, yeah, because it's a dump outside. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if it says open floor plan, the doors are sold separately. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
Hey, it's Joe Rexrode here for FanDuel Sportsbook. Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now you get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with promo code Joe102. Of course, you got your money line, point spreads, player props. You can combine them, though, for a bigger payout with the same-game parlay. If I was looking at Titans-Jaguars Sunday, I think Derrick Henry's going to get in the end zone for an anytime touchdown. I think the under is going to hit, and I think the Titans are going to hit, too. That's what I would do. You do whatever you want to do. Do it on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. Sign up again. Promo code Joe102 for that no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets. Expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. I began paying employees in 1988. I would handwrite checks and say, here you go, don't cash it until Tuesday. But a teenage employee said his dad wanted to see his pay stub. Pay stub? We don't have pay stubs. Get back to work. He said,
Dad works for the government, and state law requires that I receive a pay stub.
Crud! Now I'm supposed to be an expert on withholding payroll taxes and create pay stubs? That's why I created Patriot Software. to help employers with 1 to 100 employees do their payroll correctly with pay stubs. Go to patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Patriotsoftware.com. Accounting and payroll. Keep your time and money.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
The Titans dispatching their general manager amidst an AFC South championship season.
What the hell was that about today? Are we going to find out, like, the real story, or is it just like...
If I had to guess...
Hey, A.J. Brown lit us up, we didn't re-sign him, you're out.
I think it could be that.
That is insane.
There you go. That was the Rich Eisen show yesterday. Hey, if it was just the A.J. Brown trade, then that is insane. And I agree, because I have stuck to the belief ever since we heard this, that there's got to be something more behind the scenes that we just simply do not know about. But with the timing that happened 2 days after the Eagles torched the Titans, A.J. went off against the Titans. Doesn't that timing sound a little bit fishy?
Yeah, it does. If you do something like that, you got to know, what's going on around you. Like how is it? You have to say to yourself, Carolyn, how is it going to look after playing the Philadelphia Eagles? AJ has 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he has this celebration of spanking a goalpost, so you know what that means.
Such a weird celebration.
After all of that, I'm going to I'm going to fire my GM. How does that look? Maybe, and again, maybe she doesn't care. But you have to, as an owner, how does that look to your team? If you don't care, exactly. And I'm not going to sit here and say she doesn't care about the fans, because I think she does. She wants to give the fans the best experience possible with this team, whether it be on, the Titans on the field or when they go to that stadium. She want to make it the best experience possible for Titan fans. But you had to think like, okay, if I do this, if you're thinking about it, and you're trying to make a decision, you got to think like, man, okay, if I do this, this is what I want to do. But if I do it right now, after losing to Philadelphia, after AJ has 2 touchdowns, it's going to look as if my decision was based upon AJ Brown. That's how it looks, regardless if it wasn't or it is. That's the perception. Instead of saying, you know what, yeah, this is something that I might end up doing, but I'm going to do it at the end of the season. So it doesn't bring the distraction that we don't like, because you do this is a distraction to everybody. Regardless of what Vrabel says, I talked to the team, yeah. But guys are still talking about this. In between meetings, they're talking about this. This will be people calling them up. What's going on? Y'all just fired y'all. What was going on in the building? Friends, family.
Phones.
Exactly. What is going on? Everybody is calling. What is going on? But the owner chose to make the decision. So what happened that you made a decision that brought on this unwarranted distraction?
All signs point to AJ. You fire your general manager.
That's the way it looks.
Who decided to trade AJ Brown. You fire him 2 days after that same player that he traded lights you up on Sunday. All signs point toward that. But Mike Vrabel was asked today about the A.J. Brown situation, about Amy Adams-Strunk's involvement in that trade, how the feeling subsequently played out after that. This was Mike Vrabel when being asked about A.J. Brown.
Was Amy adequately informed ahead of time on the A.J. trade?
I didn't have conversations with Amy, so I can't speak to that and how that process went. That wasn't something that I did.
She was in the room, correct?
Amy was I think, to the best of my knowledge, in the draft room, and so that's I can't answer that.
How do you navigate talking openly about the AJ trade in the room?
I mean, I would say that those conversations happened between John, who was the general manager, and Amy, and whatever ownership group and whatever direction that they wanted to go. That's how those things happen. Sign players on free agency, or you make trades, or you draft players.
You said at the time that you were on board with the AJ trade when it happened, and that you and John had talked about it and shared a wall. Do you still feel that way about the AJ trade?
Here's what I feel. I feel like, to look back in the past and second guess, like we made a decision, and that we felt like was in the best interest of the football team, and the decision in that we wanted to head at the time. And so, AJ's in Philadelphia, and we're moving forward. We're moving forward, of course. You know what I mean? Like we all, again, there's decisions, and then when you make decisions, you respect them, and you make sure that, again, we find ways to prepare the players to win, and that we ultimately win, and that we're doing our job, and that we're held to a high standard.
But just to clarify, Mike, then you were in the discussions to some extent at that time on the AJ trade?
I'm pretty much, in my history here, have been aware, I would say, of almost everything that's, happened on a personnel standpoint. There's been, John and I, again, have a great relationship, had a great professional relationship, and that's how things work.
Okay, so Mike Vrabel gives us very little information, but tells us a few things. One, Amy Adams Strunk was in the room, as there has a picture and photo evidence tweeted by the Titans Twitter themselves that Amy Adams Strunk was in the room when the A.J. Brown trade was made. Mm-hmm. So where did this idea of Amy Adams Strunk not being involved in big decisions come from? And that's what I want to get into coming up next. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase presented by Hair Club. Regrow your own natural hair through non-surgical options that deliver impressive results. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game.
Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches.
We are.
Grant City scores!
On both sides of the ball. One big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
College football season is here finally. It's me, Caroline Fenton, and you already know that I am pumped up for college football season. And Southeastern Carolines, you know that 312 Pizza Company is my favorite place in town. 312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Music City. You can catch every down of the college football season at 312 Pizza Company from week 1 of the national championship. 312 Pizza Company is your home for college football season.
This holiday season, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from TaylorMade and Bushnell. Featuring the TaylorMade Stealth Carbon Woods with 60 layers of carbon for faster ball speeds. And while you're there, grab a dozen TP5 golf balls. And from Bushnell, save up to $75 on the Tour V5 and Tour V5 Shift rangefinders. There's also gift cards for those favorite golfers on your list. Don't miss these holiday gifts and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
This message is for the guy who isn't perfect in the bedroom. And let's be honest, who is? Maybe the issue is getting it up or keeping it up, or maybe it's finishing too soon. If any of these performance hiccups sound familiar to you, don't sweat it. Hims can help. At 4hims.com, you can go online and get clinically proven prescription medication that treats these issues, prescribed for you, if appropriate, by licensed medical providers. And the medication is shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. No one's perfect in the bedroom every time, but with Hims, you can get a lot closer than before. And chances are, your partner will agree.
To get started today, go to 4hims.com/perfect. That's 4hims.com/perfect for your free visit. FORHIMS.com/PERFECT.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Still in company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Rank City score! On both sides of the ball. One big possession. Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
These are battles. These are grinds. We don't panic. We don't freak out. That's how we're built.
1, 2, 3. This is your drive to the playoffs update. Presented by Coleman Tractor, Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer. On 102.5 and 106.3. The Game and the Game Nashville app.
On Tuesday morning, the news broke that the Tennessee Titans were firing GM John Robinson. David Beauclair of SI.com joined Robbie and Rexroad this morning and said,
"This is the biggest shocker I think the Titans have dropped on us since they've been in Nashville, and there's reasons for concern with the job that John Robinson had done the last couple of years. The 20 and 21 draft classes outside of Christian Fulton have produced shockingly little to this point. The right tackle situation, they seem to have gotten progressively worse there over 4 consecutive years. The fact is, given John Robinson's record, no losing seasons, 4 playoff appearances in the last 5 years, it's going to be 5 out of 6. This is going to be 3 straight division titles unless they screw it up dramatically here down the stretch, whatever. I mean, you figure whatever disappointment there has been in the owner's suite, that he would, he deserved the opportunity to go ahead and fix whatever problems exist right now.
Ryan Cowden will be the interim GM for the remainder of the season, and Mike Vrabel will speak to the media at 11:45 today. This report is presented by Coleman Tractor. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mace with Chase McCabe, Willie Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee,
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We are streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Our video streaming is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Caroline Fenton in for Chase McCabe today. Again, the biggest story of the day, the week, the year. The Titans have parted ways with General Manager John Robinson, and we heard from Mike Vrabel earlier today. And in a clip that we just played before the break, Mike Vrabel admits that Amy Adams-Strunk was in the room on draft night when the Titans made the decision to trade A.J. Brown. Now, before Mike Vrabel came to the podium, the only kind of inside look that we got to this decision was from Adam Schefter on ESPN yesterday. This was Adam Schefter.
This was very surprising. Again, he's been there for 6 seasons. The worst record that John Robinson and the Titans ever have had during his 6 seasons there was 9-7. But this is a situation where the owner was not particularly happy with John Robinson, and she decided to make a change this morning. And so she fired John Robinson a year after she gave him a long-term contract extension. He's got 4 years after this year on his contract. Now, a lot of people around the league have called up and asked all day long, wondering if there's something more to this, if something happened. And I've been told that that's not the case, that this is a simple decision of the owner wanting to go in a different direction. I think everybody remembers the A.J. Brown trade. They saw the Eagles this weekend, and A.J. Brown lit up the Tennessee Titans. But the fact of the matter is, I think, yeah, well, that doesn't help the situation, RC. But I think that the owner was not entirely happy about not being included in a lot of conversations. And I think she felt like she wanted to go in a different direction. And so they've appointed Ryan Cowden as the interim GM, and they'll wind up being in the GM market after this season.
So Adam Schefter says Amy Adams Strunk was frustrated with not being involved in a lot of big conversations. Mike Vrabel admitted to the media, and we see a picture. We saw a picture of it. Amy Adams Strunk was in the draft room when the decision was made. So who is giving Adam Schefter that information, one? And two, is she upset about another big conversation that happened that didn't involve A.J. Brown?
Well, that is the key word. Conversations, not transitions. Transactions or trades or bringing guys in or out. I wasn't made aware of conversations that were had. What conversations were you not aware of?
And that's what is
It's
Adam
like-
Schefter just making stuff
Exactly.
up? Who's feeding him that information? And if not, if that is the case, what conversations was Amy Adams Strunk not aware of?
Conversations so much so that you felt you needed to fire him.
In the middle of the season, when you're going to the playoffs and you're going to win the division and your GM has a winning record.
The only thing that I can come up with is conversations that John and Mike had. That Mike may have wanted some things or people, and the conversation stopped with John. Mike thought it would go higher, but it stopped with John. And then Amy, after the game, what's going on? Hey, coach, what's going on with this? Why it seemed like this team is not getting better? Well, I thought you knew about this and this and this. This is what I told John. You what? You had a conversation with John about what? I didn't know any of this. Yeah, I had a conversation with him about this, and the direction of the team and what I need in order for this team to become better. Oh, you did? What else? Start telling her. Okay. Now I'm calling John. John, why wasn't I made aware of these conversations? What are you talking about, Miss Amy? There are conversations that were had in that building about personnel that I was not made aware of. Why? Now John's thinking like, what? What's going on here? Okay. I didn't tell you. This is my team. Why didn't you tell me? This has nothing to do about AJ. I am starting to believe this has a damn thing to do about AJ in a sense of I'm firing him now because that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back because she signed off on it.
But how realistic is it that every GM informs every owner of every personnel decision that's made?
Well, you would hope that if I'm hiring you as my GM and things that can, help this organization or decisions that may be made that can either change this organization's trajectory or whatnot, I need to be made aware of those. It may be little to you, but this is my team.
But what is the one personnel decision that's been
That's
made
what I'm saying.
since John Robinson's extension that is franchise altering?
It wasn't
Brown.
But it wasn't the AJ because she signed off on it.
And so that's why I have to ask, okay, she was in the room. She knew that it happened. What other conversation is there? Where is Adam Schefter getting this information?
I think
what
it's just
more
personnel.
Are we not being told?
I think it's personnel. I think it's things that John, just like TD and Paul pressed him on. Like, what decisions were made that Miss Amy didn't know about? Like, what was discussed that she did? Did she not know about this? And you knew? Did she not know about the A.J. Brown trade? And where is the disconnect?
And I mean, I view, correct me if you think differently, I view Amy Adams Strunk as a fairly laissez-faire owner.
Mm-hmm.
That she looks at, John and Mike, they make my football decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to be informed about things. She's not Jerry Jones. Like,
I don't picture her as a Jerry Jones or an Irsay.
Right. I don't think John Robinson went up to her and said, hey, Amy, we're going to sign Mario Edwards off of the Jacksonville practice squad. Do you cool with that? She's like, yep, cool. Thanks for the heads up. I don't think that's how it goes. But when you decide to trade your franchise wide receiver, that's a move that she needs to know about.
But she knew about it.
She did know about.
Exactly.
So what other conversations were being had that elicited firing the general manager that didn't involve A.J. Brown? But it also, coincidentally, that firing happened 2 days after A.J. Brown just went off for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
So it makes it seem like it was all about A.J.
It's totally about A.J.
And that's the way she makes it seem by the firing of John right after the game.
If she
well,
was
the day
involved,
after the game.
yeah, exactly.
2 days after the game.
If she was involved in every conversation about the A.J. Brown trade, or at least I can assume if she's sitting in the room while it's happening, then what's Adam Schefter talking about?
I have no idea.
What really happened?
There's not. That's like trading Derrick Henry and Amy's in the room, but you don't tell her that you're trading the best player on the team or possibly the second best player on the team.
There's a picture of her shaking John Robinson's hand.
Exactly. So, again, you knew that he was making the trade. You knew why. I'm sure why he was making the trade. So I just can't believe it was solely that. I don't believe it was that, period, because she knew about it. She signed off on it. I can't be upset if I signed off on something. Like, you bring me this. If my son wanted to sell his car, and he came to me and said, Dad, listen, and he's come to me and said this before, and I've said, no, we ain't selling that car. You just got it. But, hey, Dad, I want to sell this car to give me another car. And I say, okay, all right, you do your thing. You do your thing, sell a car, I'll be fine with it. He sells the car, and then I get mad like, why in the hell did you sell that car? Why didn't you get more money? And he's like, Dad, but you said I can sell the car. So why would I get mad at him in that instance? I gave him the okay. He sold it, bought another one. Maybe that car didn't work out, but I can't be mad at him. I need to be upset with myself that I allow him to sell a car. So you can't be mad at John Robinson for making a trade because you knew about it. I don't know any GM in the NFL, and maybe you can point out any of them, that will make a trade of a guy so he's a high caliber player. He's a A-list player. If you're talking about A-list players, he's an A-list or a B-list, but he's at the top of the charts.
Yeah.
You don't make a trade like that without consulting with your owner.
And she knew.
So why then, during the season after playing him, you fire him? With 5 more games to go, you fire him. And you want us to believe, or me to believe, that it was because of AJ? No, it wasn't because of AJ. It wasn't, because you knew about it. You signed off on it. You felt that, okay, we can get Traylon Burks. He'll be fine. And Traylon Burks has been good when he's been on the field. But the problem is he's been hurt. It is what it is. But I am not going to believe A.J. Brown had anything to do with them firing him now. Like firing. Now, they could have did it after the season and list a bunch of things. I get that.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
After the season, I would still be shocked, but I would say, okay, I guess I understand where you're coming from here. But right now, if Amy Adams Strunk told John Robinson on draft night, look, you have my blessing to trade A.J. Brown, but we play the Eagles in November, whatever it was. And if we lose to the Eagles and A.J. Brown makes us look silly, that's your job. Well, that's bad ownership.
Oh,
that's
very
a rash
bad
decision.
Yeah.
And I don't think Amy Adams Strunk is a bad owner.
I don't want to believe that. I'm not.
I don't want to. But coming up next, we'll get your thoughts on it. We are right to your phones, I promise, coming up next on the John Robinson firing. How much did A.J. Brown have to do with it? And how much do we not know about this situation? It's Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And hey, play Silly Underdog Picks today. You can pick 3 football underdog teams that you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. Play now at thegamenashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app. Silly Underdog Picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports. Voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes! Touchdown!
Every three.
Free ball! Yes, sir!
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee!
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5. Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
How to say I love you without words and make your money go further this year? A beautiful piece of jewelry from Genesis Diamonds, and we're making it easy with 0 interest financing. That's right. While interest rates are on the rise everywhere else, at Genesis Diamonds, we're lowering rates all the way down to 0% with 0 down. This is in addition to Genesis' amazing, unbeatable value prices. How about a 5-carat diamond bracelet for only $85 a month? Or a luxury pre-owned Rolex Submariner or Datejust? Pay nothing down and spread the cost over 5 years. Everything's included in this amazing holiday offer, but this is only through December 12th, so shop early. Unique designer jewelry, colored gemstones, classic diamond studs, handcrafted engagement rings starting as low as $35 a month with 0 down. Even our GIA certified diamonds are included. Let Genesis help you find that remarkable gift for the season and enjoy low payments and 0% financing for 5 years with no money down. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs on approved credit.
Open Sundays till Christmas. When it comes to procuring my adult beverages for the big games, I saddle up and head to Red Spirits and Wine. Red's titanic selection of beer, wine, distilled spirits, and cigars is second to none. And Red's Cracker Jack crew always delivers a winning combination of service and value. There's no two ways about it. Red is top of the range. Open 7 days a week at Highway 70 South in Bellevue. And check us out at redspirits.com.
Signs First, Nashville's foremost destination for event signage and physical media. Located just minutes from Broadway, our team of design, production, and installation professionals can help you create an unforgettable event. Stand out. Be different. Go to sfnash.com.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and we are straight to your phones as promised. Chris is up next with an A.J. Brown theory.
Hello.
Chris.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, guys. I have a thought. I mean, this is very strange on the timing. Everybody agrees with that. Something happened this weekend, right? Beyond just the loss, probably for her to make that decision. And I just wonder if she was in Philly, if she happened to either run into AJ or run into somebody on, his team or somebody that shared information about what went down on draft day. that was different than the narrative that John had told her. You know, maybe he threw out, hey, I would have stayed for $20 million, and she had never heard that, you know, that information. And maybe she went back to John and said, hey, I ran into a different story than what you told me on draft day. Could something like that have happened? I know it's totally speculative, but there seems to be something going on with her saying that she's not being included in the decisions.
Yeah, thank you for your call, Chris. And it's
right now that's all we can do is speculate.
Nothing is off the table. If you wanted to tell me that, you know, just a ridiculous, outlandish story, nothing is out of bounds here because we haven't been told any information. But Jared told me, and he said this on the air, that supposedly A.J. Brown and the Titans had come to a deal, 4 years, $20 million. And then other wide receivers in that class, the Deebo Samuels, the Terry McLaurins, the DJ Moores, the Christian Kirk deals, even though they weren't in the same class, there were other wide receivers that were getting paid, that were getting big-time deals. So before the contract was signed, A.J. Brown's people called up John Robinson and said, look, the price just went up because the market just shifted, and we want $2 million more per year. And then John Robinson said no. And I don't know if that was an offer that was brought to Amy Adams Strunk. And maybe to Chris's point, that was something that was brought to her attention over the weekend. Well, that she didn't know, and she would have said, hey, I would have signed A.J. Brown for $2 million more a year. I don't know the answer. I don't know if Amy Adams Strunk was aware of that or not. Does that deserve firing? That's Amy's decision. If that was the case, then clearly so.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that prior to them signing or potentially signing AJ, that he took those numbers back to Amy and said, Amy, listen, this is where he's at. 20 per year, we can get this done. Amy was like, all right, get it done. You know, do what you need to do, get it done. But there had to be a hard number that she would not go over. Like, you know, this is the number that as an owner, I don't want to go over. You know, y'all put the numbers together however y'all want to, but this is the number I don't want to go over as an owner because I have to pay other people. Okay. Well, when he comes back and says, well, you know what? I want 22, 23, 24, 25 million.
It was 22.
Because on the phone call that was played for everybody to hear with Deebo and AJ and Deebo's mom, she made reference to monies that was offered to AJ.
Yeah.
It was $20 million. So someone's telling the truth about the 20 per year, and there could potentially be a contract done.
Well, it makes sense because that was the same number that Terry McLaurin was signed to, the same number that Deebo Samuel was signed to. What do Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, and A.J. Brown have in common?
Same agent.
Same agent.
So I'm sure Amy, when that number was brought, and he took it to Amy, and Amy said, okay, let's do it. But then when you come to me again and say, we want $2 million more per year, $3 million more per year, it's like we hands shook on an agreement. I've already told the owner. She's agreed to this number right here. We can't go any higher.
But maybe that's on John Robinson for not at least bringing it to her. And that's making an assumption that was the situation.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if it was.
But if that was the situation, then shouldn't there have been something done right after that to him? If you're going to, because I can see.
Unless she didn't know about it.
Yeah, I can see if that was done and then they end up was 5-7 instead of 7-5. And then it comes after playing Philadelphia. It's like, okay, what you chose to do wasn't right. We got to let you go right now. But they're 7-5. He made you aware of the trade, and you were good with it. So what changed that made you say you're gone with 5 games left?
Unless she found out something that she didn't know before. But anything's on the table. Back to your phones. Kenny the mailman's up next. What's up, Kenny?
Good afternoon, Derek Mason.
Hey.
You are the most qualified person to answer this question in all of Nashville, and I know you're going to knock this out of the park. Are you ready?
Hey, Caroline might be
No,
she can answer this question too.
You recently said the word perception and perceived, and that is the reality, even if it's not quote-unquote true or not. You can speak to this. NFL players take pride in playing because it is a dangerous sport. Their number one goal, I want to play as hard as I can for my family and get that second contract. Their number two goal, somehow, some way, some miracle, because only a few of the players play long enough to get a pension. Whether it means playing 3 years here, then 3 or 4 in Chicago, 3 or 4 in Philly, 3 or 4 in the Saints. That's what I've got to do. The Titans walked up, okay, they did not pay A.J., a Pro Bowl type receiver. All the players saw that. Then we just found out, we don't know, just an iceberg, that Jeff Simmons was told, hey, big boy, if you don't take a hometown discount, we can't afford you. That's telling every player on the Titans team, we will not pay you because you're not as good as Jeff Simmons. When I heard that, it was like they cannot conduct business that way because just a Simmons, a Brown, they are few and far between, and you got to move heaven and earth to move them, not try to get a discount to keep them. Derek, knock it out of the park.
Yeah, thank you for your call, Kenny.
Thank you, Kenny. That I was surprised too when the whole thing came out with Simmons. Like, we may not have enough money to pay you. Mm-hmm. You don't. That's not something. Weird. Yeah, you don't tell a player like, we may not have enough money to pay you, but we want you to play this year for us.
And also, if I'm Amy or if I'm anybody having those conversations with Jeffrey Simmons, wouldn't you move heaven and earth to keep Jeffrey Simmons?
Yeah, or
wouldn't you move around contracts or
yeah,
make
but you would definitely
not
say.
You wouldn't tell him.
We may not have enough money to pay you
those
the
are
contract you want.
Negotiations.
If I'm a player and if I'm in Jeffrey's situation, I'm like, all right, then. Well, there's no need to talk no more. You done already told me that we may not have the money to pay you. Right. So, all right, I'm going to play because I'm under contract. I'm going to play my butt off, and somebody else will give me the money. I'm not going to worry about it. But you don't allow that to be out there when you still have years left on a contract with a guy at his caliber. Like you said, you find, in the caller said, you find every possible way to sign guys like A.J. Brown, Jeffrey Simmons, Kevin Byard, Derrick Henry, Danico Autry. Mm-hmm. Guys like that, you find ways to sign, even Ryan Tannehill. You find ways to sign guys like that and keep them on your roster. You don't tell them, and I don't know if this was said or not, but obviously something was said because Jeffrey, it came out. Well, listen, after we then traded AJ, we may not have enough money to pay you, Jeff, but we want you to continue to play, and we'll see where it goes next season.
And what kind of message does that send to every other player in the league, to every player on this team, that A.J. Brown was one of the top players on this team? They let him walk because they weren't willing to pay him. Whether that was the truth or not, that's what the perception is. If they do let Jeffrey Simmons walk, and telling Jeffrey Simmons, we don't know where the money's going to come from, but we'll try our best, and they let Jeffrey Simmons walk, what kind of message does that send? It says that the Titans are a cheap organization that aren't willing to pay their players. And I don't think that's necessarily the truth. I don't think that's the case.
No. Okay.
They
I want to say,
don't want that to be the perception.
I'm not going to say the Titans are cheap, because when you're giving guys 20, 17, whatever it is they're paying Derek, when you dole out that type of money to Landry and Bud Dupree, that's top notch money. So you're not being cheap, but what you are being is you're being strategic in who you sign and how much you sign and how long you sign them.
Uh-huh. It's a business.
Yes, they're going to pay Jeffrey Simmons. They have to.
They have to.
There's no way. But as I said before, this organization's history before Mike Vrabel got here, certain positions are not valued as higher than others when it comes to the money. Maybe Vrabel doesn't think that way. Vrabel thinks, no, if that's a top-notch player, we need to sign him. I don't care what position he's at. If he's played a contract and he deserves the money, pay him. We'll figure it out with everybody else, but we need these guys. Well, the Titans, from a historical standpoint, they don't operate that way. There are certain positions they're going to pay, and there are certain positions they're going to say, you know what? We like you, and we would love for you to stay at this amount. If you can't, then we understand. But this is where we're going.
At least under Vrabel and Robinson, it's an organization that operates exactly how Bill Belichick operates with the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that no one player is bigger than the team. And they looked at AJ wanting more money and said, you are not bigger than the team. And sometimes that hurts your team. Mm-hmm. If you want to have that identity, if you want that to be the case with the way that your football team works, fine. Mm-hmm. Look how that's worked out with the Patriots this year. Patriots don't look so hot. Patriots without Tom Brady, with that idea of no one player is bigger than the team, that's not working out very well. But that's the way that the Titans want to operate this team. And if that's the reason why A.J. Brown walked, then that's the way they operate this team. And that's what Amy Adams Strunk was on board for on draft night, because she was there in the room when it happened. Coming up next, we are right back to your phones. What don't we know about the A.J. Brown situation? We'll get into that coming up next. And, of course, your wonderful phone calls. It's Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. 1025-1063 The Game. And, hey, Chase, Willy, D-Mase is brought to you by Hair Club. Regrow your own natural hair through non-surgical options that deliver impressive results. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life.
This is Colton Sissons, and this is Smashville.
Feeds now, Sissons coming on for the left circle, and Colton Sissons puts it in the net.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Microsoft, LG, Sony, Apple, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, smart home, headphones, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express, we make Christmas happen.
Achieve hero status this year. The woman in your life will love this unique and thoughtful gift. Always in style, always fits, always appreciated. Choose your budget, and whether you spend a little or go lavish, she can choose from 10 different services, all under one roof at a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. Gift cards can be printed directly from the website, or they can be beautifully wrapped for a stunning presentation and even paired with other gifts like robes, candles, and all sorts of fun finds from the Gift Boutique. Learn more about this at amomentspeace.com/Christmas.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, it's Mike Greenberg, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I'm sorry?
Do you feel like you had enough involvement in the construction of this roster right now?
My focus is clearly on the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is like, what do we need to do? Who's going to be available to look back and to reflect? My job was to do everything and to support the personnel staff wherever I could, to make sure I coordinated the coaching staff and ultimately get the players prepared. That goes on this week. You know, I mean, that this is, you know, again, the timing and the change is never easy. We recognize that. we're looking forward to it. The players had a unbelievable attitude. They're looking forward to getting back into football, after having lost. And, we try to explain to them that, we started the season 0-2. We won 7 of the next 9 games. We lost the 2 losses were against the teams that played in the AFC Championship game. After 9 quarters, we lost 2 games by 7 points, and we went on the road and got beat by a better team. And so I'm going to try to keep things in perspective. I've asked them to do the same thing and understand where we are and the opportunity that lies in front of us.
There you go. That was Mike Vrabel at the podium earlier. He says, clearly I'm focused on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, yeah, duh, Mike. What else would you be focused on? It's not like your general manager was just fired yesterday. Yeah, we're all moved on to Jacksonville. Right. Just like I promised, right to your phones. Bryce is up next on John Robinson. What's up, Bryce?
Hello. I just wanted to say that I do support the dismissal of J-Rob. I don't think he's done a very good job. Obviously, when he let A.J. Brown go, to me, the plan was to build the offensive line because Tannehill is getting older and Derrick Henry has injuries. So it was to open up that space, that money for the offensive line, and it didn't really work out that way. I'm a huge Titans fan. I think J-Rob needed to go. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, thank you for your call, Bryce. I mean, interestingly enough, yesterday on Stillman and Company, we had so many texts reacting to the John Robinson firing. Why? Why now? What's the reason? What's next? But I don't think we had a single text saying that they didn't like this move or saying that John Robinson was a good GM and didn't deserve to get fired. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people feel the same way that Bryce did, that they were happy to see John Robinson go, which is so wild to me, considering how many games this team has won, how many times this team has gone to the playoffs under John Robinson, and the fact that they're going to go this year. I get it. John Robinson was not perfect in the draft. I would be the first person to admit that he has busted in the first round. But, was it really that bad?
No. Since 2016, now, his first-round draft picks were not bad because he got Jack Conklin, who was an all-pro at one point. He got Corey Davis, who was a solid player. Had he not been so many times on the injured list, then I think his numbers would have been even more. He was a good receiver. Now, was he worthy of the number 5 pick? I don't know. But you can't tell me once he and A.J. was on the same team, that was one of the best 1-2 combinations in the National Football League.
And was he a receiver that produced like the 5th overall pick? No.
No, but this
he wasn't a bad player.
But I think people, you've been the diehard Titans fans since '97, you understand that that the Titans, no matter who they draft, receiver-wise, they're not – if you're looking for their receivers, Titan receivers, to be what other teams' receivers are, like the numbers and the catches and the touchdowns and the flashiness, that's not this organization.
But I don't think anyone's asking for, Cooper Kupp production or Stephon Diggs production. I think they're looking for just a certified threat in the passing game.
Well,
they can catch a pass.
They got them. They had them. They had Corey Davis, who, regardless of what people say, Corey was a good player, and he's working out in with the Jets too. Mm-hmm. Now, he's been injured, but when he's been on the field, he's been a good player for them. Adoree Jackson. That's an interesting one because for some reason, his talent said, yes, you draft him in the first round. Because it's not like, what people got to understand too, it's not like John was the only person that evaluated Corey Davis and Adoree Jackson as first rounders. I'm sure there are other GMs that had first round grades for these two guys. Mm-hmm. and probably would have drafted them had not John Robinson drafted them, okay? So it's not like he's drafting first-rounders that didn't have first-round grades, and he decided to draft them anyway. And people are scratching their heads, and they looking like, no wonder it didn't work because they didn't have first-round grades. The guys that he drafted had first-round grades. Jeffrey Simmons, that is a big hit. A.J. Brown, second round, that was a big hit. Isaiah Wilson, we understand where that went.
Bad pick.
I blame everybody for that pick. That's not solely on John Robinson. I blame everybody in the organization on that. The scouts, I blame them. I blame the GM. I blame the head coach for that. This is not a one guy blame for all of this. But for that one, it's everybody. It falls on the GM. It's just like the quarterback. You get too much praise and you get too much blame.
But I also go back to anything that happened before February 2022 is a complete moot point to me.
But people are going back to it.
They'll go back to it, and I understand that fans are frustrated with the first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I'm frustrated with the first-round picks. I'm frustrated with the drafting in 2021 as a whole.
The 21 draft was horrible.
Horrible.
With the exception of Rashad Weaver. Rashad Weaver's turned out to be a pretty good player, okay?
But if Rashad Weaver...
I understand, but he was a fourth round. I'm just saying.
I know.
He's turned out to be a key cog in what you do from a defensive line standpoint. Elijah Molden, he's a good corner. He hasn't been on the field.
Who just got put on IR today.
IR, but he's a good corner. He's always hurt, but he's a good corner.
Always hurt.
The two that we look at are Caleb Farley and Dylan Ratens. We all said, even back then, like, those three guys are the three guys, and you can throw Evans in there. So that's four guys that he has whiffed on. Two in the first round with Farley and Wilson. And Evans. Three in the first round and Dylan Ratens.
And Farley and Isaiah Wilson both
came in with baggage.
And each position groups that the Titans really could use right now.
Yes.
They need offensive line depth. They need corner depth.
But people are looking at this as if, he's just been horrible at drafting. He has not been horrible at drafting. He's been good. Has he been great? No. But he has been a good GM that has drafted pretty good. Obviously, he has those outliers that everybody's going to point at no matter what. If the Titans win a Super Bowl and then end up having 2 losing seasons, they're still going to blame John Robinson for Farley, Wilson, Ratens, and Evans. That's just the way people are. He won a championship, but they're still going to blame him for those 4 because those were first-round picks. Had those been second, third, fourth-round picks, people wouldn't even care. They wouldn't care about those guys. But because they were first-round picks, and I get it, I understand, but for people to all of a sudden say he's not a good GM, he is a good GM. Look what he has done. He's going to have misses, and he's had some. And he's had some misses that we were like, man, why? Like that's a head scratcher.
Farley. I mean, the Farley pick, it was doomed from the start.
I think that Isaiah was the one that people look at and like, seriously.
I mean, in the Julio Jones trade, it was dumb from the beginning. It was a bad move. But and we can talk about all of these things because I think these are all fair things to say that if you look at the resume for a GM, those are all fair things to look at and say, yeah, that led to his firing. But I don't think any of that mattered. I don't think any of that is the reason why he got fired. The more and more I think about it, and the more and more I hear from Mike Vrabel and thinking about what we heard from Adam Schefter, the more I have to think it's all about AJ. That's the only thing that makes the timing make sense.
But it doesn't make sense if you signed off on it.
And that's the thing. And it doesn't make sense if you think that Amy Adams Strunk is a good and smart owner, which I think she is. I think she's a good and smart owner and businesswoman. That decision doesn't make sense. But go back to your phones. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Dan is up next on John Robinson. What's up, Dan?
Hey, so I had the pleasure of bowling with Derek last night at the Preds Foundation fundraiser.
We had a good time.
We sure did. I just want to do what?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say thanks for Derek for coming out back and, just such a proud supporter of the Preds Foundation. And as far as the Titans go, Derek, similar to your bowling game, I think we're going to be fine. We're going to catch it in the end. We're going to take off. We're going to catch fire. And, 10th frame, Titans will be good. So I'll hang up and just want to say thanks again.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Appreciate it. I had a wonderful time, and I thank the Preds and the Preds organization for inviting me to their event last night. I had a wonderful time meeting a bunch of people, in particular Dan and the family there, bowling with them. Got a chance to talk with Rudy Kalis. He's one of my favorite guys. But, yeah, we had a good time. But we talked Titans, and I think a lot of people were surprised, just as surprised as we were yesterday about the firing of John Robinson. Listen, there's no GM that is perfect, and everyone wants to go out like Ozzie Newsome. You win a Super Bowl, and you step down after a bunch of, great picks and Hall of Fame picks. He'll go down as one of the greatest GMs ever. Everybody wants to go out that way, but unfortunately everybody can't. But I do feel, again, this is Amy's team. I think they're going to be fine in the long run. But I think the perception is it's like you did them dirty.
Yeah.
Like you did them dirty. Like where this organization was to where he helped put it, and it wasn't just him. It was other people involved. But he was the head figure. You made him the head figure. And to do it in that manner, and we don't know all that would happen, it just seems dirty. Seems bad. And it could have been a valid reason why you did it.
But we don't know.
We don't know.
And Matt Caller feels confident about the future for the Titans. Thinks the Titans are going to be totally fine moving forward. Do you agree? We'll get into that coming up next. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5-1063, The Game. And hey, this Sunday following the Titans game, tune in for the NFL post-game show with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow live from the Superbook Lounge in Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway. The post-game show is brought to you by Renter's Warehouse, Two Rivers Ford, now with a huge inventory and stock of vehicles to choose from, and Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a very rainy morning in the afternoon, very similar to yesterday, where a few on and off rain showers will be here and there. No significant weather and very warm once again. High temperatures in the upper 60s to right near 70 degrees.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, it's Joe Rexroad inviting you to start NFL Week 14 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel, if you have an account, you're going to get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay does not hit. These NFL same-game parlays, perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. Unfortunately, an underwhelming game in terms of just fandom. You've got Rams, very disappointing, and Raiders, also very disappointing, but you can have a lot of fun with this game on FanDuel. I would go over on the Josh Jacobs rushing yards. I'd probably do a Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown, too. I would go under on this game. That'd be my parlay, but you build your own. You can also choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It's easy, it's safe, it's secure, it's fun, and however you want to bet, you can do it Thursday night, no sweat, same-game parlay. Sign up with promo code Joe102 if you don't have an account. If you do, you're all set. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issue is now double free bet. Expires 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbet.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be, but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and you can give the gift of Preds hockey this holiday season with the Smashville Stocking Stuffer presented by 47 Brand and Local IQ. This includes 2 hockey tickets, a Preds 47 Brand hat, and a $20 food voucher, all starting at just $79. Visit NashvillePredators.com/stocking for more info, or check out the 5-game pick plan presented by Hattie B's. Pick any 5 games and select your seats, plus receive a Preds car flag and a $10 gift card to Hattie B's. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets for details.
Patriot Software provides American businesses with easy, cloud-based, premium accounting software and full-service payroll for up to 100 employees. Business owners love the simplicity, the price, and our U.S.-based support. And accountants love the powerful capabilities. Go to PatriotSoftware.com. That's PatriotSoftware.com.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
OrderGreen.com. You know them by now. They're my only choice for high-quality THC and CBD products, and they're delivered right to my doorstep. Hey, folks, Joe Rexrode here. Yes, you heard that right. OrderGreen.com will send cannabis products right to you with discreet same-day shipping. OrderGreen.com has been great for me. Just what I need during this busy time of year. Takes the edge off physically, mentally. Terrific products, and if you use promo code Joe20, you're going to get 20% off your first purchase at OrderGreen.com. Do you have a subscription to OrderGreen.com? It'd be a lot cooler if you did. You won't be able to tell if you're in Colorado or Tennessee. Trust me, that's OrderGreen.com.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexrode.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune into this Sunday's NFL Game of the Week on 94.9 The Fan. This week's game will feature the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the San Francisco 49ers at 3:25 p.m. NFL Game of the Week brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. We are right to your phones. Will is up next on John Robinson. What's up, Will?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I got one question for D-Mase and then 2 other thoughts you guys can deliberate on if you want. Is it possible that the core players were frustrated that they didn't have the talent to compete while their window was still open, and that Vrabel might have run that up to the administration in fear of maybe losing the locker room? I would love your insight, D-Mase, because of your playing career. And then 2 other things I thought about. If this was a knee-jerk reaction because of AJ, I worry that it ends the momentum of success over the past couple of years and the unit that they formed between Vrabel and J-Rob. And then lastly, nightmare fuel is John Robinson being hired by the Colts to select their next coach and then chase us down. Thanks, I'll hang up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for your call, Will.
Well, unfortunately, the Colts didn't fire their GM. And, they chose to fire the coach. I think that's the natural progression. You fire the head coach first and then the GM. Right after, or you fire them both together. Rarely do you see during the season the GM gets fired.
And normally when I see that, when it's GM before coach, that tells me the owner had to pick a side.
Exactly.
And the owner picked the coach's side.
In regards to the core players being frustrated, I'm sure there was a level of frustration, with the players. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it had to be, us being injured, then not having the depth that we need to sustain a level of play while the injured guys get healthy. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there were some frustrations, but players' first inclination isn't to say, well, it's the GM's fault. That's not where they go. They go a level up. They go to assistant coaches, play callers, head coach. They don't never venture into the GM world. We're blaming the GM for this because the GM essentially drafted them.
Unless it's a specific GM issue.
Yeah, unless it's you're right, where there's been decisions made that there's been more decisions made from a personnel standpoint that the players don't agree with. Like when I was playing here, we didn't have many, but I think the decision to release Randall Godfrey was huge, and the Eddie George release. I think that was huge with the locker room because you're talking about a guy in Eddie George that was a cornerstone, a foundation. He's Steve and Bruce, B-Hop. Those guys are leaders. Those guys were foundations to what this organization had become or was becoming. And then Randall Godfrey was another guy they brought in, was a pillar of toughness, good play, everything else. And then when you see those players released, you're like, man, what's going on here? You're upset as a player because you love these guys as men, and you got an opportunity to enjoy them as being a part of a team. And when they're released just like out of the blue, it's like, what's going on here? Then you start thinking like, why did the GM make that decision? Like, come on. Like, they've been here. So you're going to have that stuff. And I'm pretty sure, they may have thought about it with the AJ thing, but I think they quickly was like, okay, we're in the season now. We, whatever happened, it happened. Now we just got to make it work. But players don't typically.
The players do, and correct me if you think I'm wrong. I think the players understand that this is a business.
Yeah, they do, and they don't look no further than one. They try to stop at themselves, like self-evaluate, like I need to get better. We need to get better.
Right.
But then when certain things are made, it's like, well, why did the coach do that? Why did the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, why are they doing that? We can't get better if they're steady doing this. We need to be doing this. Players more than likely never go up the chain all the way up to the GM. It usually stops at the head coach. That's where it stops. But I don't know if that's the case here.
And that's what I want to ask you. Let's put yourself in the Titans locker room now. What's the message to those players? If you were in that locker room, how do you feel? You got 5 games left in the schedule.
Yeah, I'm a veteran player, because young players might look at this a little bit different.
How would they look at it differently than a veteran?
I think young players look at it from the standpoint of, I just got to do my job. Regardless of what happens around me, I got to do my job. I haven't earned enough, cash. I don't have enough cachet to start commenting on these things. I've only been here a year or 2, 3 years. Well, when you're talking about Byard and Tannehill and veteran guys, Derek, veteran guys like that, it's like, listen, it's us against the world. That's basically what it is. This organization is going to do what they're going to do. We got to go out there and play. Whatever decisions they've made, they felt it was best for the organization. Now, we got to go out here and handle our business, regardless of what it is, because you know what? We can be next. She done already sent the message that I will get rid of you in the middle of the season or with games still left. So, as players, we're like, man, it's messed up. We like John, but we got to keep playing. We can't allow this to be too much of a distraction to us. So, Byard, Tannehill, I'm sure that's their message. Byard to the defense. This can't be a distraction to us. We got a game to play. Let's not make this a distraction. Regardless of how much we like John, this can't be a distraction. Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, this can't be a distraction for us offensively.
How do you not make it a distraction? I understand that let's say Todd Downing's DUI. So easy for a player to be like, look, that's his business, not mine. Things like this happen all the time. We're going to move forward. But whenever you make a foundational move like that, and whenever I see other teams making midseason moves, whether it's college, pros, whatever sport, if you fire a GM or a coach in the middle of the season, the message to me is they're waving the white flag. They need to just cut ties, get the season over with, move on to the next one, and start building for the foundation for the future. This team's not giving up.
Yeah, they're not giving up. And I think they believe, even though John was so integral in the team, like the day-to-day, like he
out there
talk
in
to people.
Practice,
He's still an extension of the team. He's still the GM. He has a job to do. We can't mistake this. His niceness for he may not never cut. No, he might he might come up and talk to us today and then have to cut us tomorrow. So we got to do our job. We loved him. We enjoyed playing for him. We're glad he drafted us. But we got a job to do.
So what's the truth? What happened? Why was John Robinson fired yesterday? Stillman and Company continues the conversation coming up next. We'll be back tomorrow at 10.
We out.